morning, everybody. It is Thursday, the 25th of June, and welcome to Breakfast with Roger and Friends on WAZU FM 90.7 in beautiful Peoria, Illinois. We say good morning, Dr. Gene Sidler.
Good morning, Roger. And in homage to Mike, I'm sitting back over on this side.
On this side, on the right side
I'm
of the...
feeling much more comfortable about that.
Yes.
I moved over there just to kind of balance the studio out.
The studio, yeah, because we didn't want it to lean one direction more than another. And you're right, Mike Dentino's here. He's been gone for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Good to see you, Mike.
No,
Where
good
all
to be
did you
back.
go? What have you been doing?
Well, we went to visit our grandkids in Connecticut, and had a rather enjoyable trip out there. It was
Is that a 2-day trip?
no
To get there, you
we
can do it in
drive
one day?
straight- Yeah, we still drive straight through.
How many hours are we talking about?
13.
13. Yeah, you'll find out in a couple of years that's a little too harsh.
Yeah, well,
Maybe not. though.
It's
Do you trade off between you and your wife driving? Take
No.
turns? You do all the driving? don't you?
yeah.
Yeah, I can tell. You're a macho type of guy. I can handle it.
Well, it's not so much being macho. It's just that she's trying to drive my truck. Oh my
okay,
God!
yeah.
Having a woman drive a diesel truck. What
Yeah.
what sort of man would I be if I
Yeah,
let a woman
yeah.
drive a diesel truck?
Now, you can't say that in these days.
Well, you just did.
Right.
Well, it's because I know. Well, I hope my wife.
You know your limitations, right?
Yeah.
Like Clint Eastwood.
Did you make any stops at the Wawas along the way?
Well, I'm not a big Wawa fan. I'm still holding out, and I'm waiting for him to put a Buc-ee's along I-80.
I think the farthest north one is in Tennessee now or something, right?
Yeah, that's
The Buc-ee's. You know,
No, I don't know what you're talking about. It's like an oasis.
it's a gas station combined with a Walmart, combined
yeah.
with an amusement park and a,
Oh,
and
you're
a
kidding.
shopping
Wow.
mall. Yeah.
No kidding.
the only thing that's bigger than a Buc-ee's is a refinery.
Yeah, the ones in Texas have like 120 gas pumps. Can you imagine a gas
I
station
can
with
imagine
120
that, yeah.
gas pumps? And then they've got every kind of merchandise, everything from
Under the
sporting
sun.
goods to clothing to food and everything you'd find in a Walmart, you find in a Buc-ee's. But it
Yeah.
also has restaurants and food, and they're known for their barbecue and their brisket and their,
Their
and
barbecue.
their
is
beef
my
fantastic.
jerky and everything else.
They're like a shopping mall.
Yeah.
It's an experience. Yeah.
You know.
Well, there's what they have one in Daytona that is just sprawling, and anytime we go to Daytona, I love stopping there. Because you want to buy brisket, fine. You want to buy a barbecue to make your own brisket, fine. They sell everything and more. at
My
Buc-ee's.
goodness. How are they gas-wise, price-wise?
Competitive, very.
You mean at the Buc-ee's?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, because they're all along the interstates usually, and they have to be competitive to get
Yeah.
the truck drivers and everybody else to come in. Yeah,
Isn't it true that Love's in this part of the country,
Yeah.
particularly in Iowa, but Illinois as well?
big.
They you get into Iowa, and it's much cheaper than in.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody's cheaper than Illinois.
Oh,
We're
yeah.
not most
Yeah.
heavily taxed state in the union,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Every state around Illinois has significantly lower prices. We, of course, drive to Ohio, and it's much lower in Indiana, and then it even gets a bit lower into Ohio.
And
Yeah.
you go the other direction, and like you say, Iowa is lower. Missouri,
Yeah, well, Missouri,
Or Missouri.
definitely lower.
Well, gas is cheap. When you're going west, gas is cheaper till you hit either Colorado or California,
then
and
it
then
jumps.
it
really.
jumps up. Yeah.
How was it like in Connecticut price-wise for gas?
I actually found $4.99 diesel in
did?
Connecticut. Yeah, I was
That's
impressed.
a bargain.
I was shocked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What kind of mileage do you get with a diesel engine? How miles do?
With this one, I'm getting 28 miles to the gallon.
Okay, that's
which
pretty good.
for a
isn't it?
full-size pickup truck. That I can't beat that. That's why I
Hmm.
got the little diesel I got.
Interesting. Quick story. Over the weekend, I was walking out in the drive, and I heard this car putt up in front of the house. I looked, and it was Colonel Ballard, and it was
Oh,
driving I think it was a 1990 Mercedes, I think, with a diesel engine.
Oh, I mean, yeah, you can get, I think you can still probably get Mercedes with diesels, but, you know, some of these Mercedes diesels are legendary as far as how long those cars last. They were never cheap to buy, but like the 60s and 70s, you get these diesels that are still going strong today.
I was surprised because it was making a lot of noise, and I thought it's missing or something. And during our discussion about the car, it was a beautiful car, and I forget how many miles he had on it. It belonged to his father, he said, and he mentioned that it was a diesel, and I said, I was wondering what was making all the noise, and when he pulled away, it sounded like an 18-wheeler.
Yeah. Oh,
They
yeah.
do make, back then, I think they're a little quieter with today's engines, are they not?
They're a little quieter, but I mean, I know if I pull into like a McDonald's or something for a drive up, the woman or the man on the other end of the intercom is like, you know, I can hardly hear you. Can you talk a little louder?
Yeah. Well, let me shut the engine off and maybe.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, glad to have you back.
Well,
And,
glad to be back.
And we'll get more details about the travels of.
Just curious, there was some tornado activity up by Lake, and did you notice anything at your place?
We were about 4 miles from the tornado that went around Washburn.
Yeah.
We weren't home when it happened.
Right, that's why I'm asking.
So,
Did
yeah.
you notice anything when you got back? Was your roof missing?
No,
Yeah.
unfortunately,
Or your house.
I wasn't missing any animals or roofs or fence lines or anything.
good.
So I was very happy
Yeah,
about
we're
that.
just south of Lake, and then you're a little bit north
A
of
little
it,
bit north.
of the metropolis.
Well, speaking of that, did you look at the skyline in a westerly direction this morning? You could see, I guess it's a front
Yeah.
that is coming this way.
Yep.
And the sky was spectacular in colors.
It looked
and
like there was
design.
some rain.
Yes,
because there was
yes.
some almost like funnel cloud looking.
You're exactly right.
It wasn't obviously funnel clouds, but it looked like it was probably rain
It
in
was
some areas.
periods of rain. And interesting, did you have much fog where you live this morning?
No, I didn't, but I heard there was fog in some areas.
It is in pockets. My subdivision in Morton didn't have much of anything, but as I got on 155, and particularly at the fork in the road of 474 and 74, it got real heavy. It got to East Peoria, and it was negligible. So it is. There's fog out there, but it's pockets.
Very patchy.
Yeah, you bet.
Yeah.
Well, let's see if we can talk about the weather and the news, something that we do each and every morning on Breakfast with the Roger and Friends. And we'll start with the weather this morning, brought to you as a service of Morton Community Bank's 50 branches across Illinois, offering a full range of personal and business banking services. Hometown banks, FDIC insured, so your deposits are safe. Look for the clock tower, and you will know they have time for you. First, a check with the Illinois River, which has reached 20.9 feet. Flood stage, 18 feet. A reminder, flooding around the Ivy Club in Peoria Heights in the downtown riverfront impacted only when the river reaches 22.7 feet, but it appears that's not going to happen happily. Weather-wise today, cloudy, high of 81, mostly cloudy overnight with a 30% chance for rain after 3 a.m., the low 63. Tomorrow, cloudy with a good chance for showers and a high of only 75. Tomorrow night, cloudy, a low 64 with a chance for showers tomorrow night. Saturday, cloudy, high of 83, and Sunday, look out, ladies and gentlemen, sunny and hot, 91, Monday, 94, and Tuesday, 95 degrees. But we're a long way from that right now. Currently, 66, and that's your live weather report. Now, the news and our lead story Mike Dentino has.
Oh, thank you, Roger. President Trump last night kicked off the country's official 250th anniversary celebration on the National Mall. Called the Great American State Fair, it features patriotic music and the spoken word from the president as he hailed America's history and progress.
Congress joined in the celebration by sealing a time capsule to be opened July 4th, 2276. I don't think neither one of us will be there, but we can work on it.
It could happen.
Bipartisan committee placed a variety of items in the capsule they said reflect and commemorate who the nation is today. The contents include a joint letter from congressional leadership, copies of key legislative milestones, and other, probably boring papers. The capsule to be placed beneath the U.S. Capitol building. And speaking underneath, what a story do you have?
Well, today, the U.S. Department of the Interior is opening for the first time for public viewing the undercroft of the Lincoln Memorial.
Now, what do you mean by undercroft?
Well, that's an glad you brought that up. Basically, undercroft is just a $25 word for big basement.
It's a big basement, okay.
Yeah, so it's 43,800 square foot underground foundation that's been transformed into a 15,000 square foot museum and exhibition space that includes the original signed copies of the Emancipation Proclamation and the 13th Amendment, as well as other historical documents.
Yeah, and I read that it's free to go visit it, but you have to make a reservation. And that's another way of perhaps screening who they let in to the basement.
To the basement,
Under
yes.
the Lincoln Memorial. President Trump took it on the judicial chin when Democrat federal judge Denise Casper ruled he had no authority to issue an executive order requiring proof of citizenship in order to vote. The judge said Trump exceeded existing law. The White House said the ruling makes it easier for non-qualified people to vote, and that's probably the reason for the judge's decision. Judge Casper was appointed to the bench by guess who?
President Obama.
Yeah, you got it. Exactly.
Aha. U.S. and Iranian officials have wrapped up negotiations in Switzerland, establishing a framework aimed at reaching a peace agreement, hopefully within the next 60 days. Allegedly, the United States has agreed to release $12 billion of frozen Iranian assets, and the Strait of Hormuz is open, allowing for the free movement of oil tankers and other supply ships.
Well, Wall Street, I think, Mike, seems to like the news. The Dow ended yesterday at 52,273. When Trump entered the White House in January this year, the Dow was at 48,000.
Yeah.
Caterpillar reached $409 per share in January. Are you ready for this as a former Caterpillar employee?
Yes, I am.
Last night, Cat stock soared to just over $1,000 per share.
My father would be spinning in his grave right now.
He
if
probably
he knew.
is.
Well, Peoria police report the arrest of a 14-year-old boy, charging the teen with possession of a handgun. Officers grabbed the boy in the 1800 block of North New York Avenue after receiving a tip. He's at the County Juvenile Center presently, facing an additional charge of aggravated assault.
18-year-old Quinzel Foy, that's F-O-Y, is going to prison for 3.5 years after he pleaded guilty to the robbery of a 15-year-old last February. Now, you may remember, ladies and gentlemen, that this youngster was a part of a group of young people who stole 2 vehicles, one was a Jeep, and led police in a chase through the streets of Peoria, a chase that ended at the intersection of University and Main Street. So he will be the first of several who will be facing perhaps prison time or jail time.
Well, officials of the Riverfront Museum have received an original 1883 William Stone print of the 1776 Declaration of Independence. The rare piece, donated by Diane and Doug Oberhelman, was unveiled last night at the museum.
Yeah, I wish I had been there. That
Yeah.
would have been kind of interesting and exciting as we continue to celebrate the founding of our country 250 years ago. That's a look at some of the stories we're following. Now we have news from WCBU, brought to you by Matt Wall, CPA and tax specialist with Gordon Stockman and Wall. Matt is experienced in federal and state tax compliance, employee benefits, estate, and trust tax planning. You can learn more from Matt Wall when it comes to finance at 309-692-4030.
From the WCBU Newsroom, I'm Ben Howell. The Peoria Police Department will hire 6 civilian community service officers aimed at boosting its daytime security presence in the downtown area. Police Chief Brad Dixon says these unarmed officers will assist with matters such as traffic or crowd control during events.
It will allow our police officers to focus on higher priority law enforcement calls.
The City Council unanimously approved spending more than $500,000 annually on their salaries. The Illinois Environmental Protection Agency and a nonprofit are in a multi-year planning process to reduce carbon emissions in Illinois ports and waterways. The two groups held the first of 5 public meetings last night in Peoria to outline the plan. Nonprofit CalStart's project lead Lily Paul says this is an opportunity
to invest in these areas, to really bring resources to them, especially as they have slightly different needs.
More than $95 million in planning and deployment grants will help the EPA decarbonize state ports and buy zero-emission port equipment. Peoria's latest crime statistics show a slight increase in shootings. Experts say that violent crime leaves behind not only the victims themselves, but witnesses and others who also feel the trauma. OSF Strive offers trauma-informed mental health services to youth as young as 6 years of age, and OSF's Brooke Escobar explains how trauma affects victims and witnesses.
When there's been experiences of violent crime trauma, the world is confusing, the world is scary, it changes how you see the world.
OSF Strive officials say their service is available to victims and witnesses of violent crime throughout all of Peoria County. And Governor J.B. Pritzker says his office has been advising the Chicago Bears on crafting a new proposal that would keep the team on their home turf. He says he hopes the team has a bill before state lawmakers are set to meet again in the fall.
We want to get it done as soon as possible, and if they're able to put everything together as we hope they will, as I've said, I'm willing to call a special session.
The Bears Board of Directors voted earlier this month to move forward with a stadium development project in Hammond, Indiana. I'm Ben Howell.
I don't know about you two gentlemen, but I think the governor is a little late. Too little, too late. I think the Bears are gone to Indiana.
What? Saying that? I don't know that it's a done deal yet. No, we got more on that here in a minute.
All right. Well, with sports, here's Dr. Gene Sidler, brought to you by BradleyFans.com.
Oh,
Are they really... are they talking at all about the Bears on BradleyFans.com, or is it just limited to Bradley?
No,
fans?
it's college sports, almost exclusively college sports. Once in a while, we'll talk about some professional topics, and of course, this week the NBA draft. I've got a little mention of that because there's some Missouri Valley players that were involved in that, but it's mostly just the Bradley Braves and college sports.
Okay.
But it is a little bit busier here the last week or so for various reasons. We'll start first with some baseball news, and it's good news for Cubs fans. They played a doubleheader yesterday with the New York Mets to make up for the rainout on Monday. Cubs won the first game 10-3, a bunch of home runs. Michael Busch, a 2-run home run. Dansby Swanson had 2 home runs.
He broke out
a
of a
3-run
slump.
homer and a grand slam, 7 RBIs for Swanson. And yes, he was 3 for 5 in the second game, so he's finally raised his batting average above 200.
He was down around 177.
Yes, he's been well under 200 all year. Now, finally, I think he's 202 now at the end of yesterday's doubleheader. Anyway, they won game 1 10-3, and then they won game 2 10-5. Poor Mets are just really reeling. They have one of the highest, if not the highest, payroll in the major leagues.
Did not know that.
Steve Cohen, the owner, is using a lot of his own money to fund that team and to buy the most expensive players. They've got players that like Juan Soto, who's got a $51 million a year contract. I think he's hitting in the low 200s. He's just been terrible for the last 2 years. They are grossly underperforming. Anyway, the Cubs now 43-37, but they're still 7 games behind the first place Milwaukee Brewers, who also won their game yesterday. The Cubs will play the Mets one more game tonight, and then they move to Milwaukee for a weekend series with the Brewers, a chance to try to cut into that 7-game deficit. The St. Louis Cardinals, they lost last night to the Arizona Diamondbacks 9-4. Cardinals dropped back to 7 games out of first. They're tied with the Cubs now for second place in the National League Central. Cardinals will play the Diamondbacks one more game tonight. And the White Sox, they lost to the Cleveland Guardians 4-3 in 10 innings. Tough loss for the White Sox. They are off today. They'll play the Kansas City Royals for a weekend series starting tomorrow night. And the Peoria Chiefs, they got a 2-hour delay in the start of the game last
2
night
hours, wow.
against the Beloit Skycarp, but then they got going and played the game. Didn't end up till much later. Peoria won, beating the Beloit Skycarp 8-5. Chiefs are 2-2 to start the second half of the schedule. Let's hope they can do a little bit better and maybe make the playoffs with a good run this second half. The series continues at Beloit through Sunday. World Cup Soccer, the U.S. men play their game tonight against Turkey in Los Angeles. This is the third of their what they call the pool play, play the other 3 teams that are in their group, and the U.S. is favored tonight, but they've already clinched first place in that group and a spot in the final 32-team bracket that starts next week. So go U.S. They certainly have looked and played better than I think most people, including me, expected. The second and final round of the NBA draft was last night. The Chicago Bulls had 1 pick after they traded away one of their 2 picks in that second round. With the 1 pick they had, they selected Purdue guard Braden Smith at number 38, but then they immediately traded him away for another guard to the Indiana Pacers, Cam Jones, a 2025 second-round pick. NHL draft starts tomorrow and Saturday, 7 rounds in Buffalo. We'll see how our regional teams, the Blackhawks and the Blues, do. The Blackhawks have 6 picks in the 7-round draft, and the St. Louis Blues have a total of 12 picks. So they're going to do a little bit of reloading in tomorrow's draft. Bradley basketball news. Unfortunately, one of Bradley's better incoming players was a guard named Georgi Germanov, a pretty good 6'4" point guard from Bulgaria, being counted on to maybe be the starter and one of the key players for Bradley for the 26-27 season, but he injured his knee in a practice. He's going to need surgery. He's going to miss the entire season.
Oh, my goodness.
So, I mean, they haven't
That's
given
really bad news.
They haven't given
for
details,
him.
but about the only kind of knee injury that requires a year's rehab would be like an ACL.
Did he do that here in
Yes,
Peoria?
yes, he was
on
in
the
Peoria
hilltop?
with everybody else on the
Oh,
team. They were all in
goodness,
town
yeah.
working out for the summer. So it must have been a tough injury in a practice. Yeah, that sounds like it's a ligament injury, and that requires significant knee surgery and a long rehab period. So
Will he stay in Peoria for
we don't know that yet.
rehabbing, or
Yeah, we
will he
don't
go
know
home?
that yet. He probably will have his surgery and rehab at least part way here in
Here.
Peoria. Will he remain in school? Yeah, we just don't know. You know, with these new college eligibility rules, it's kind of up in the air a little bit.
But wouldn't he be a redshirt?
They don't have red shirts anymore.
You're kidding.
Yeah, no, they've done away with that, and now the NCAA simply has a 5-year window in which you can get up to 5 years of eligibility. Not 4 anymore. You can get up to 5 if you play all 5 years. So if you take a redshirt year, you just essentially eliminate one of your years of eligibility, and it drops down to 4. He's a 23-year-old. The NCAA says that 5-year window starts when you graduate high school or when you turn 19, whichever happens first. Since he's a 19-year-old, I'm sorry, since he's a 23-year-old already,
yeah.
his clock actually started 4 years ago. So he looks like even if he comes back, he might possibly have 1 year of eligibility
Oh, my
and maybe
goodness.
none at all. It just depends on how this rule shakes out. So he may never actually play at Bradley because of this injury, but we'll see. It has to work
Well,
its
we
way
wish
out a little
him
bit.
well.
Yeah, I wish him well. He was going to be a pretty good player for the Braves. And then the story you were referring to, the Chicago Bears stadium saga, not done yet. On Tuesday, Governor Pritzker said he's working with the Bears to put together new legislation that could keep them in Illinois rather than their planned move to Hammond, Indiana. According to Pritzker, the Bears are interested in working out something. Pritzker said that he's willing to call a special session. Remember, they adjourned for the rest of this past session They weren't due to adjourn or reconvene until like October or whatever for the fall session. But he's willing to call a special session of the General Assembly to create new legislation, trying to keep him in Illinois. Meanwhile, just to complicate things, 2 new offers have emerged this week. The village of McCook, Illinois, it's a tiny southwest suburb near LaGrange, population 241. It's the smallest suburb in Cook
joke.
County.
I read about that's just
Well, they've got this large filled-in rock quarry, 150-acre parcel of land that's just barren, and they're offering that to the Bears. Now, I don't know why the Bears would be interested. They've got land already.
Yeah, exactly.
They own that old Arlington Park race course up in Arlington, Illinois, or Arlington Park, Illinois, and so they just need some kind of tax legislation from the state and from the local people there in that county. The other is in Chicago. It's been suggested now by the owners of the old U.S. Steel plot of land, which is on the far south side, adjacent to Lake Michigan, between Lake Michigan and the Dan Ryan Expressway. As you drive up, which I've done many, many times in my life, drive up the Dan Ryan, we used to see the old U.S. Steel plant off to the right. That's just all dilapidated and closed down and barren now too. That's being offered as a Chicago site for the Bears. Again, that that would take massive rehab and undergoing to fix that up for the Bears. But who knows if it requires a big plot of land for the Bears to be lured back into the city of Chicago, that may turn out to be a possibility. Anyway, Pritzker hinted that a decision about a special session could still happen this week. We're holding our breath.
And here's something else. Why do you need a special session? I'll tell you why. Because they have to create a fund, legislation that would result in money for the Bears. And Pritzker said months ago he will not allow any taxpayer money to be used. So what can you do legislatively, which was not explained by the governor, by the way, that would attract the Bears to stay in Illinois, wherever it might be?
The Bears were fully in favor of a bill that was in the General Assembly. It was called a pilot bill, payment in lieu of taxes,
Right.
that basically set a fee each year for them to pay instead of paying property tax. They weren't asking for the state to give them money. They were asking for the state to just set what the cost of the property taxing would be while they're going through all this billing process, because it would have been a terrible financial burden for them to be paying a massive amount of property taxes when they weren't going to be able to get into that stadium for 3, 4, maybe possibly 5 years still to come. And that's all they were asking for, not to be given money or for taxpayers to foot the bill for their construction, or they were even willing to pay up to, I think, $2 or $2.5 billion of the infrastructure, which most cities, states, and localities will do themselves to draw businesses in. Basically, they were just asking for them to do what they do for every business that they try to lure into the state of Illinois. And they wonder now why are all these companies leaving Illinois? Caterpillar, Citadel, the massive big investment company of Ken Griffin, and how many other? There's been about a dozen major Fortune 500 companies that have left the state of Illinois in the last 3 or 4 years over taxation. And the state is losing out on incredible amounts of revenue from those companies that now reside in Miami and Texas and states that don't have as many taxes. Anyway, it's all political games, and it's unfortunate that Pritzker is positioning himself to run for president, so he can't appear to be giving in too much here. But now he realizes what a blunder he's made, and he's trying to make up for it. Mm-hmm. He's getting heat from people now saying, look, you blew it. You let the Bears go to Indiana.
Yeah, it'll be tough to run for president if the Bears leave Illinois, leave Chicago, and locate elsewhere. That will not look good on his presidential campaign
like one big
resume.
massive poker game. You play poker.
Yeah, I mean, not
well. They're all trying to outplay each other, and
Right.
I still think this move to Indiana is not a done deal. It's the latest Bears poker move, and now it's back in Pritzker's court, and we'll see what he does.
Yeah,
It will be interesting to watch.
Yeah, I personally, I think Pritzker is screwed the pooch on this one, but we'll see. I mean, I pulled McCook up on the map because my wife used to play softball down around that area. She grew up.
Where is it Southern Illinois or is it Northern Illinois?
It's south. It's kind of southwest Cook County.
Oh, okay.
It's just outside where Bridgeport is, where the mayor's family
Right.
all live. It's just west of Bridgeport. It's just outside the city of Chicago on the southwest side.
And the thing of it is, it's, if you look at the infrastructure that's there right now, it's 55 runs right next to it, which, as anyone who's used 55 over the last 50 years knows, that it's perpetually under construction.
It would have to have a whole lot more.
And you've
handle
got both.
traffic.
You got both the Des Plaines River and the Chicago River running right through there, which means, well, now we've got to build bridges to get everywhere, or we're going to have floating parking. Take your pick. But it's going to be a nightmare getting. It's certainly going to be no better than Lakeshore Drive getting in and out of Soldier Field right now. So I don't see it as a
Well, I
net.
don't know. It couldn't get much worse with where they are now. With
Well, yeah.
Lakeshore Drive and that I-55 spur that goes over to McCormick Place. That's a nightmare getting
It's
out
a
of there.
nightmare getting in and getting out.
And there's no public transportation there.
No, that's what's surprising.
Of all these metro stations all over the city and county, there's none near Soldier Field.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
unfortunate. All right, let's bring you up to date since we're talking about news. And our news at the bottom of the hour today brought to you by Spoon River Home Health, making a difference in the lives of the people they serve. They've been around helping people in their homes since 1993. Your choice matters, with skilled nursing to bathing and personal care. And you can reach the people at Spoon River at 309-245-0723. Now with the news, here's Mike.
That would be me. Thank you, Roger. President Trump last night kicked off the country's official 250th anniversary celebration on the National Mall. Called the Great American State Fair, it features patriotic music and the spoken word from the president as he hailed America's history and progress. Congress joined in the celebration by sealing a time capsule to be opened July 4th, 2276. The bipartisan committee placed a variety of items in the capsule that they say reflect and commemorate who the nation is today. The contents include a joint letter from the congressional leadership, copies of key legislative milestones, and other, probably boring papers. The capsule to be placed beneath the U.S. Capitol building. Today, the U.S. Department of the Interior is opening, for the first time, for public viewing, the undercroft of the Lincoln Memorial. It's a 43,800 square foot underground foundation that has been transformed into a 15,000 square foot museum and exhibition space that includes original signed copies of the Emancipation Proclamation and the 13th Amendment, as well as other historical documents. President Trump took it on the judicial chin when Democrat federal judge Denise Casper ruled he had no authority to issue an executive order requiring proof of citizenship in order to vote. The judge says Trump exceeded existing law. The White House said that the ruling makes it easier for non-qualified people to vote. Judge Casper was appointed to the bench by President Obama. Peoria police report the arrest of a 14-year-old boy charging the teen with possession of a handgun. Officers grabbed the boy in the 1800 block of North New York Avenue after receiving a tip. He is currently at the County Juvenile Center facing an additional charge of aggravated assault. 18-year-old Quinzel Foy is going to prison for 3.5 years after he pled guilty to the robbery of a 15-year-old last February. Foy was part of a group of youngsters who stole 2 vehicles and led police on a chase through the streets of Peoria, a chase that ended at the intersection of University and Main Streets. And finally, officials on the Riverfront Museum have received an original 1883 William Stone print of the 1776 Declaration of Independence. The rare piece, donated by Diane and Doug Oberhelman, was unveiled last night, at the museum.
Yeah, that sounds kind of neat.
Yeah. Neat night, whatever.
Yeah.
And Roger, that's it for news at the bottom of the hour.
All right, how about a check of the weather brought to you this morning by Kyle Varnold, providing personal and business insurance for auto, home, life, and health. Kyle works with multiple carriers to find the right price and the right policy for individuals, families, and businesses. And you can reach Kyle for information at 309-682-0519. A check of the Illinois River is our lead into the weather when the river has reached 20.9 feet. Have you seen, you're up around the river in Marshall County. Is it up in your property or near your property?
Definitely up.
It is.
Yeah, I have not markers, but I've got an app on my phone that follows what the river is doing, and I've got it delineated on there. When I need to pay attention, when I need to start doing something, and when I need to drop everything and run home.
Yeah, and no, when you drop everything and run, period.
Yeah.
May not be. But you're pretty well safe, aren't you? Are you far enough from
the house
the
is
river?
safe, but
Yeah.
I have...
Are you up on a higher level, you might say?
Yeah,
Okay.
we're kind of up on a little berm. But I do have my all my big mowers parked a little closer to the river, and I am at the river's at like 24.5 feet right now, where I'm at.
Really?
And, yeah.
Oh, wow.
And 25 feet is when the water is at the edge of the cement where I park the mowers. So
you
it's
have
like,
to be concerned
yeah.
about that. Is there any chance? What's it look like at the Undercroft?
Well, the undercroft at my place is not quite 40,000 square feet.
Okay. I still think that's a funny part of the story.
Yeah.
Anyway, a reminder, we are at 20.9 feet officially. I'm not sure where, since you just got through saying you're at 24 feet.
Well, it's a different measurement station. So
okay.
You kind of can't compare the measurements between stations very easily. It's all kind of relativity there.
Yes, okay. Well, when you start worrying in the downtown area is when it reaches 22.7 feet. However, it appears that's not going to happen. You're taking a close look and watching it. It will start to recede in the next couple of days, will it not?
Yep.
Due to the lack of, hopefully, precipitation. However, weather-wise today, mostly cloudy, 81, cloudy overnight with a 30% chance for rain after 3 a.m. Tonight's overnight low 63. Tomorrow, cloudy, a good chance for showers and a high of 75. Tomorrow night, a chance for rain, cloudy, 64. For the weekend, Saturday, cloudy, 83, Sunday, sunny and hot. And I'll say 91, and Monday 94, and Tuesday 95 next week. Right now our temperature at 66 degrees, and there's a check of the news and weather at the bottom of the hour on Breakfast with Roger and Friends. We were talking about the Undercroft, in other words, the basement, and I got to thinking, basements can be kind of eerie, and I thought, we've got a guy that used to be in the Navy, he's retired from the U.S. Navy, and you were on what kind of ships?
I was on a what's called an LKA, which is an amphibious cargo ship.
Okay, big thing.
Big, yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, this is if you were a captain, this is the ship that is your training wheels before you get to an aircraft carrier.
Whoa, really?
Because
it's
it's-
that big.
It's big, it's slow, it doesn't turn on a dime.
Is that the one that has the big door in the front that,
No, that's either an LST or
yeah,
an
that was the
LSD.
one that, I think, didn't it visit Peoria
Yeah.
at one time, the LST?
At one time.
Well,
yeah.
there was one of those, the USS Peoria,
Peoria.
County, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But an LKA,
Well, why is it amphibious? What does it,
well, because we carried what are called Mike boats, LCMs, which are the landing craft with the front that drops down. We carry,
Okay.
let's see, we had 4 and 5, we had 9 of those total mounted on top of the deck, and we would put those in the water and then load them with cranes and booms.
Wow.
We were the biggest of the amphibious ships, and although we didn't go ashore, we carried all the stuff and the landing craft to put things ashore.
So you could go ashore.
Yeah.
Well, I bring it up. Were you ever offered, because of the undercroft and basements and so forth, were you ever offered the opportunity? Did you ever think about serving on a submarine?
Yeah, I mean, I would have loved to serve on a
Would you
submarine.
really?
Yeah.
So you're not the least bit claustrophobic.
No.
That's interesting, but we were one year when we went east, actually we went a couple of years east, but we stopped in Groton, Connecticut, I
yeah,
believe.
yeah.
And that's a submarine base.
Mm-hmm.
And we got the opportunity, I don't know whether the two of you have ever been in a sub, but there is a feeling of the walls coming
Getting
a little
close,
closer
yeah.
to you.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It's similar to, and I know you've had patients who said, I don't know if I can do an MRI because of the claustrophobic potential for that. So I was asking if you were ever given the opportunity to do it, and obviously you were, and said, no, I think I'll stay topside.
Well, I mean, my problem was I couldn't get a security clearance, so they wouldn't send me on a submarine. If you're
Really?
gonna-
I can't
if you-
believe that. Well, you're an attorney, so maybe.
That just means I have no heart. No, it's, I've actually have been on board a submarine. Years ago, we were visiting, I think it was Grand Haven in Michigan. And I
Okay.
believe they have an old World War II submarine
In Michigan.
in Michigan, yeah, that's
Interesting.
open as a museum. And I remember distinctly going on board, and it is very claustrophobic.
Oh, you bet it is. Yeah.
But the thing that hit me was my senses were assaulted when I went on board that, because the smell of diesel fuel and burnt insulation
Oh, wow.
overwhelmed me. Because one of the ships I was on, a much smaller ship that was diesel powered, diesel electric, had that exact same aroma. So it brought back 40 years or 50 years of memories of being on board a tiny little cramped ship that smelled of diesel oil and burning insulation.
That's what my car smells like
There you go.
with 198,000 miles. Have you ever been in a sub, Gene?
yes, actually, are you aware that there is something called the Buffalo and Erie County Naval and Military Park in Buffalo, New York? It is the largest inland naval park in the U.S., and it's located
wow.
in downtown waterfront Buffalo, New York, on Lake Erie. We were there,
Interesting.
and I didn't know it existed. We were there, and there are several ships there that you can tour at times. They have open tours available at times. One of them is the USS Little Rock, a guided missile cruiser, the USS The Sullivans, which is a Fletcher-class destroyer,
Destroyer,
USS Croker, a World War II
lot
Gato-class
of ships.
submarine. And we did the tour
You
of the
did.
submarine. And yes, I mean, do they screen people for size when they
Well,
assign sub
yeah.
crews? Because
Well, if they
you
don't
have to
be-
be,
no.
You- yeah.
I'm not the biggest guy, and yet I had to be really careful, or I would have had multiple lacerations across my
Bumping
forehead.
your head.
Yeah.
The ceiling is that low, isn't it?
Well, the doors that you go, what do you call them?
The watertight
The
hatches.
watertight doors you go through. Yes, you got to crouch to get through every one of them. And yes, there's all kinds of stuff protruding from the ceiling and the walls. Handles and gears and and valves and things that. Yeah, you got to be really careful, and you can't be a very big guy to serve on a submarine. But yeah, it was it was cool in a sense, but it was also claustrophobic. You're really enclosed in a very, very confined environment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your favorite submarine movie?
Oh, I
remember the Red.
The Hunt for Red October
Red
was
October.
terrific.
excellent
Yes.
one. I also liked Run Silent, Run Deep. That was
one-
another.
That was a much older one.
much
yes.
older one, but
40s movie maybe.
Yeah, I mean,
post-war, I think.
I wanted to be on submarines.
You
frankly.
did?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, my favorite is one I don't know whether either one of you ever heard of because it was not in English. It was subtitled.
Das Boot.
Das Boot.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
another
right.
classic.
Classic of a German.
subtitles, isn't it?
Yes,
I've
right.
seen it, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's all black and white. And it was, I never thought I would enjoy a movie that had the
Subtitles.
subtitles throughout, but outstanding motion picture.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's
I believe it won some Academy Awards, maybe even. I
probably
can look
like
that
best
up.
foreign film, I think.
And when we were in Groton and we took a tour of one of the subs, the big deal is I think the modern day subs are all nuclear powered, are they not?
Yeah, well, there may be a couple of research subs in the U.S. fleet that are still diesel powered, but by and large, all the Virginia and all the Ohio class submarines are nuclear powered, and just absolutely the most complicated machines on the face of the earth.
Correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I have a memory that a submarine actually visited Peoria or came through Peoria. Where it was going, whether it was going upriver or downriver, I don't recall, but my memory tells me that there was a submarine at one time on the Illinois River passing through the city of Peoria.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I
mean,
might have dreamed that after seeing Das Boot, because the submarine have a history, and it doesn't matter what country, of being sneaky and occasionally being sighted
Yeah.
off the coast of New York or off the coast of Charleston or some, particularly during World War II. Because didn't we capture a German submarine
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
in
it's
the
on
early
display
stages
still
of
at
World
the
II?
Museum of Science and Industry.
It is.
In
Yes.
Chicago. I have been there and been through that submarine a number of years ago. I think it was before we had kids with my wife and I. Yeah, that's the Griffin Museum of Science and Industry. It is the U-505, an actual German U-boat captured by the Navy in World War II. And speaking of submarines, as far as the difference between that and the one I toured in Buffalo, it's like night and day. It's even smaller, even more confined, and there are parts of it you can't really even get into. You have to crawl into to
Oh,
get
you're
into the
kidding.
bunker area where all of the guys would get their sleep. It was a very small U-boat
yeah,
by comparison to
when
what
you
they
look
use
at
now.
when you look at the berthing areas, you kind of wonder what when they say berthing, do they mean like you're crawling through the birth canal or
Seems
or-
like it, yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's the space that you have to sleep is tiny, and then some of the submarines had so many people on board and so few places to sleep that they would do something called hot racking or hot bunking, which means one guy'd be sleeping and the other guy'd be working, and then when you change shifts, you'd go sleep in the bed that he just got out of.
My experience was a little different than that. I went over by troop ship and came back on a tin can, and the berthing area was 3 racks, as I recall. I had someone under me, someone over me. in the rack, and it was always an issue. It had to be teamwork
To get in and get
to
out.
get it in and
Oh,
get
yeah.
out. That was kind of like, oh, pardon me, I didn't mean to step on your face, type of thing. Anyway, we have 66 degrees, and we'll be back after this important message.
The car is making a strange noise. No matter what it is, you can't just pretend it's not happening.
That's an interesting sound.
It's like your mental health. If you're struggling and feeling overwhelmed, it's important to do something about it. It can be as simple as talking to someone in your community, or just taking a deep, calming breath when you need it. Nice. For mental health resources, check out loveyourmindtoday.org. At loveyourmindtoday.org, you'll find information that may help you get through a tough time. Things like tips for dealing with stress, how to navigate difficulties like financial worries, anger, substance use, and more. You can also find real stories of how people navigated their own mental health challenges. Because once you start to address the problem, you can go so much further. Visit loveyourmindtoday.org. That's loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
Today's Pet Tip is brought to you by Peoria Pet Crematory of Peoria and Lewiston, providing final care for family pets, large and small, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Their phone number is 713-1898. That's 713-1898. More information is available at peoriapetcrematory.com.
Pet lovers are dedicated to their animals, all species from horses to turtles and of course cats and dogs. If you are a pet lover, learn these little known, somewhat amazing facts about your pet. There are times when a pet can eat something he shouldn't and it will cause him to throw up. But you should watch your dog carefully. If the upset stomach continues more than a day and the dog seems listless, you could be facing a serious problem. I know a lot of folks will say, oh, he's always doing that. But that should be a strong warning sign. Dogs do not always throw up unless something is seriously wrong with their systems. Some friends of mine recently had this happen to their Schnauzer. Rocky is for the most part an active dog, but when he became somewhat listless and then not eating, they just thought it was because he's getting older. When he started not eating and throwing up what he did try to eat, they knew something was not right. So at my urging, he went to the vet's for blood work and was kept overnight for observation. The vet thought it was probably pancreatitis, but when the blood work came back, they were all surprised. He had developed a liver disease. This could have killed him if they had not sought treatment in a timely manner. Now Rocky is on a special low-protein, non-fat diet with daily medications, and I'm happy to say he has perked up and is playful and eating well, though he does miss his doggy treats. So let this be a reminder to you that sometimes the simplest symptoms can lead to the biggest problems, and we need to be observant of our dog's behavior at all times. This whisker of information has been made possible by a grant from the Corporation for Public Broadcasting in partnership with Spot, Saving Pets One at a Time, and KSBR Studios. Produced by Joseph C. McGuire and theme music by Stuardo Glasser.
Today's Pet Tip has been brought to you by Peoria Pet Crematory of Peoria and Lewiston, providing final care for family pets, large and small, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Their phone number is 713-1898. That's 713-1898. More information is available at peoriapetcrematory.com.
Thank you, Louis Linder. 66 degrees. Mostly cloudy today, a high of 81. We have the weather and all the details coming up. You also found some information. I was not daydreaming, whatever, seeing a sub in the Illinois River pass through the area of Peoria, because you found some information that may indicate that indeed happened. Did you not?
Well, yes. The the Navy commissioned a shipbuilding for submarines in Manitowoc, Wisconsin.
It's hard to believe. I know they make beer and cheese.
And as many as, this is a historical marker down near our riverfront that indicates that as many as maybe almost 30 submarines passed through Peoria from the Manitowoc area where it was constructed. And
That's on our riverfront?
that is in Peoria near our riverfront somewhere, yes.
I'll be doggone.
There is a...
And gosh, how many subs were there? Look like 10 to 15?
There's like 28 or 29 on this.
That many?
Yeah.
Wow.
On this memorial here. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out where this
Marker is,
marker
yeah.
actually is, but now I'm not sure I've hit a dead end here.
Well, name some of the subs that apparently went through the area.
The USS Peto, P-E-T-O, the USS Pogey, the USS Pom Pom, the USS Puffer, the USS Rasher, and then Rayton, Ray, Redfin, Robalo, Rock. Oh, they go on and on here.
Yeah.
There's like I say, there's almost 30 of them on this marble statue down somewhere near the riverfront. There's a map that shows where it is, and now I can't. Oh, there, I'm getting back to it here. It shows it somewhere down at the riverfront. Right there. Maybe if I zoom in on it, I can see exactly where it is. I should probably go to Google Map. Yeah, it's right at the foot of Liberty Street. That would make it right by the library.
By the river station.
Yeah.
As a possibility. Yeah.
Well, no, not the library, but wherever. Yeah, Liberty Street.
Towards the post office? Down
Actually, as you noted, the sub that I saw, I don't think that they ever came through underwater because they would hit bottom. They always were topside for obvious reasons. If you get outside the channel, you can almost walk. Well, you can. You can walk to the channel before it drops off.
Oh, yeah.
To, what, 12, 15 feet?
Well, you would sink in the mud. I mean,
Right.
Yeah,
I
well,
don't know
there's
that
that
you'd get very
too.
far trying to walk.
But yeah, I mean, where I'm at, you can probably walk 100 yards out into the river and still not be
Above your waist.
Yeah, not be waist deep.
You know.
That's the problem. We've got riverfront property, and I can't pull a boat up to my backyard. I mean, I can walk out to the boat.
Yeah, yeah, you're right, and it's been that way for years. And is it due primarily to erosion from farmland?
Yeah. I mean,
Thanks to storms and water runoff that carry topsoil, valuable topsoil, into the Illinois River. They used to dredge the river quite a bit, but I haven't seen dredging done in years.
no.
I think the Corps of Engineers said
They do
"Oh,
it
the heck
whenever
with
it's
it."
necessary, I suppose. But yeah, you're right. I don't think it's been done for
Yeah.
a long time.
Well, they're supposed to keep the channel a minimum of 12 feet deep everywhere for the barge traffic.
Yeah.
But
That is the river station building behind it here.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
in a little park called Liberty Park that's right at the base of
Liberty Street.
Liberty Street, yes.
Interesting for 10 points. What did, before all the development, the restaurants, et cetera, and so forth, what did they call that area along the downtown riverfront? It was called something Park. And it started with the letter E, if that will help you. See, you're showing your age. Eckwood Park, E-C-K-W-O-O-D. It was
that's news to
considered
me.
a hangout of sorts, and we won't go into the details, but it was a very popular area Did you look it up and see? The
Yeah,
ECJ?
here's what the AI says. It's a historical levee park turned vibrant downtown green space located along the Illinois River in Peoria, situated between the riverfront and the Peoria Riverfront Museum. So maybe it still is officially called Eckwood Park in some part of that area where like Irish Fest is and all that. You suppose that could be?
Well, that was a park area, and then we had the Spirit of Peoria and the Julia Bell Swain, and unfortunately that did not remain a profitable venture. It was owned by the former mayor of Peoria, who founded the Mark Twain Hotel, and I think he moved. I think his son ran the Julia Bell Swain, or one of those two. The guy who would know it, Bob Anton, he was the captain of one or maybe both of those ships at Eckwood Park. And I haven't heard the term used in quite some time. Hey, it's top of the hour, and it's time to move forward with news, weather, and sports. And in the next hour, we're going to hear from another doctor, and someone I think you probably know quite well, because what time of the year is it? Shish kebab time. And Dr. Joe Couri, a well-known retired rheumatologist, will join us and make us all feel hungry this morning. So stay tuned for that. You're having breakfast with Roger and friends. Dr. Gene Sidler's here, and also Mike Dentino. And as we say, we'll be joined by Dr. Joe Couri. So thanks for being part of our program on WAZU FM 90.7 in Peoria. And also good morning to those watching and listening on YouTube. It's Thursday, 25th of June, and we start with a check of the weather, particularly of the Illinois River. And by the way, it's brought to you by Sam Lilly and Associates, providing a wide range of insurance products, including personal auto, home life, and medical coverages. And Sam has been around for over 40 years, specializing in Medicare plans and options. You can get information about Medicare and health coverage and any kind of insurance coverage at Sam Lilly and Associates, 309-245-4374. First, a check of the Illinois River. It has reached 20.9 feet, and flood stage, is at 18 feet. A reminder, flooding around the Ivy Club in Peoria Heights and downtown Riverfront. They are impacted when the river reaches 22.7 feet. However, the good news, it appears that's not going to happen. Weather-wise today, mostly cloudy, 81. Overnight low tonight, 63. Tomorrow, more clouds with a good chance for showers and a high of 75. Tomorrow night, a chance for rain and an overnight low of 64. How about the weekend? Saturday, cloudy, 83. Sunday, hot, 91. Monday, hot, 94. Tuesday, hot, 95. Right now, our temperature has jumped up to 68 degrees, and that's your live weather report. Now the news with Mike Dentino. Mike, what do you have?
Well, Roger, President Trump last night kicked off the country's official 250th anniversary celebration on the National Mall. Called the Great American State Fair, it featured patriotic music and the spoken word from the president as he hailed America's history and progress.
Congress joined in that celebration yesterday by sealing a time capsule to be opened July 4th, 2276. A bipartisan committee placed a variety of items in the capsule they said reflect and commemorate who the nation is today. The contents include a joint letter from congressional leadership, copies of key legislative milestones, and other papers. The capsule to be placed beneath the U.S. Capitol building.
Today, the U.S. Department of Interior is opening, for the first time for public viewing, the undercroft of the Lincoln Memorial. That's a 43,800 square foot underground foundation that has been transformed into a 15,000 square foot museum and exhibition space that includes original signed copies of the Emancipation Proclamation and the 13th Amendment, as well as other historical documents.
And it's kind of interesting to read about development. This project has been underway for 10 years, so it isn't like it just happened, and it isn't something that Donald Trump did. It's a 10-year project, so congratulations to people who put it together. Speaking of the president, he took it on the judicial chin when Democrat federal judge Denise Casper ruled that Trump had no authority to issue an executive order requiring proof of citizenship in order to vote. The judge said Trump exceeded existing law. The White House said the ruling makes it easier for non-qualified people to vote. That may have been the reason why the judge ruled what he did. Casper appointed to the bench by President Obama.
U.S. and Iranian officials have wrapped up negotiations in Switzerland and established a framework aimed at reaching a peace agreement, hopefully within the next 60 days. Allegedly, the United States has agreed to release $12 billion of frozen Iranian assets, and the Strait of Hormuz is open, allowing for free movement of oil tankers and other supply ships.
Wall Street apparently likes the news. Goodness sake, the Dow ended yesterday at 52,273. When Trump entered the White House in January of this year, the Dow was at 48,000. Caterpillar, by the way, reached $409 per share in January of this year, and last night Cat soared to just over $1,000 per share.
Peoria police report the arrest of a 14-year-old boy, charging the teen with possession of a handgun. Officers grabbed the boy in the 1800 block of North New York Avenue after receiving a tip. He's at the County Juvenile Center now, facing an additional charge of aggravated assault.
18-year-old Quinzel Foy is going to prison for 3.5 years after he pleaded guilty to the robbery of a 15-year-old last February. You may remember Foy was part of a group of youngsters who stole 2 vehicles and led police in a chase through the streets of Peoria, a chase that ended at the intersection of University and Main Streets with the arrest of 6 youngsters.
Officials of the Riverfront Museum have received an original 1883 William Stone print of the 1776 Declaration of Independence. The rare piece, donated by Diane and Doug Oberhelman, was unveiled last night at the museum.
Those are some of the stories we're following. Now we have news from WCBU, brought to you by Advanced Medical Transport, the premier provider of emergency and scheduled ambulance service in Peoria. There are more than 500 employees of AMT, men and women dedicated to offering and providing the best in health care. Saving lives is what they do.
From the WCBU Newsroom, I'm Ben Howell. The Peoria Police Department will hire 6 civilian community service officers aimed at boosting its daytime security presence in the downtown area. Police Chief Brad Dixon says these unarmed officers will assist with matters such as traffic or crowd control during events.
It will allow our police officers to focus on higher priority law enforcement calls.
The City Council unanimously approved spending more than $500,000 annually on their salaries. The Illinois Environmental Protection Agency and a nonprofit are in a multi-year planning process to reduce carbon emissions in Illinois ports and waterways. The 2 groups held the first of 5 public meetings last night in Peoria to outline the plan. Nonprofit CalStart's project lead Lily Paul says this is an opportunity
to invest in these areas, to really bring resources to them, especially as they have slightly different needs.
More than $95 million in planning and deployment grants will help the EPA decarbonize state ports and buy zero-emission port equipment. Peoria's latest crime statistics show a slight increase in shootings. Experts say that violent crime leaves behind not only the victims themselves, but witnesses and others who also feel the trauma. OSF Strive offers trauma-informed mental health services to youth as young as 6 years of age, and OSF's Brooke Escobar explains how trauma affects victims and witnesses.
When there's been experiences of violent crime trauma, the world is confusing, the world is scary. It changes how you see the world.
OSF Strive officials say their service is available to victims and witnesses of violent crime throughout all of Peoria County. And Governor J.B. Pritzker says his office has been advising the Chicago Bears on crafting a new proposal that would keep the team on their home turf. He says he hopes the team has a bill before state lawmakers are set to meet again in the fall.
We want to get it done as soon as possible, and if they're able to put everything together as we hope they will, as I've said, I'm willing to call a special session.
The Bears Board of Directors voted earlier this month to move forward with a stadium development project in Hammond, Indiana. I'm Ben Howell.
All right, Ben. Thank you kindly for all the information. Now, let's get the news from the world of sports brought to you by BradleyFans.com. Here's Dr. Gene Sidler with the latest. Good morning, Gene.
Good morning. Baseball news from yesterday. The Cubs, they played a doubleheader in New York against the New York Mets to make up for Monday's rainout, and the Cubs won both games. The Cubs won game one 10-3 behind a two-run home run by Michael Busch and two home runs by Dansby Swanson, a three-run homer and a grand slam. They turned around and won game two 10-5. The Cubs now 43-37, still 7 games behind the first place Brewers, who also won yesterday. Cubs will play the Mets again in one more game tonight, and then they move to Milwaukee for a weekend series against the Brewers starting tomorrow night. The St. Louis Cardinals lost their game last night to the Arizona Diamondbacks 9-4. Cardinals also 7 games out of first place, tied with the Cubs in that National League Central Division. The Cardinals play the Diamondbacks in another game tonight. The Chicago White Sox lost to the Cleveland Guardians 4-3 in 10 innings last night. The White Sox are off today. They'll play the Kansas City Royals in a weekend series that starts with a night game tomorrow night. And the Peoria Chiefs beat the Beloit Sky Carp 8-5. Game got underway 2 hours late because of a rain delay. The Chiefs now 2-2 to start the second half of the Midwest League schedule. That series in Beloit runs through Sunday. The World Cup soccer is ongoing and will continue through July 19th. The U.S. men's team plays again tonight. They'll play a team from Turkey in the SoFi Stadium. It's actually in Inglewood, California, just outside of Los Angeles. The U.S. is favored in tonight's game. They've already clinched first place in their group and a spot in the final 32-team bracket that starts play next week. The U.S. team's next game in that knockout round starting next week will be next Wednesday after tonight's game. And we don't know who their opponent will be just yet, but that game will be in Santa Clara, California. Anyway, the NBA draft was last night, the second round. The Chicago Bulls had 1 pick in the second round and selected Purdue guard Braden Smith at number 38, but then they turned around and traded him immediately to the Indiana Pacers for a guard that was drafted a year ago, Cam Jones, who was a second-round pick of the Pacers a year ago. The Bulls obviously trying to rebuild, but not doing a very good job of it here. They did get a pretty good player in the first round at the number 4 slot. That was 6'9" North Carolina forward Caleb Wilson, and they got a second player at number 15 in the first round, a 6'7" guard Dalen Swain from Texas. So a couple of good young players in the first round. Didn't seem they were too interested in getting any more players in the second round. The National Hockey League draft starts tomorrow night. It'll run tomorrow night and Saturday, a 7-round draft, and it's in Buffalo, New York. Chicago Blackhawks traded away their first-round pick. They had the number 4 pick overall, but traded away and acquired defenseman Bowen Bryam from the Buffalo Sabres. They really needed another strong defenseman, and they have secured that through this trade. They still have 6 picks total in that 7-round draft starting tomorrow night, including a couple of high second-round picks. St. Louis Blues, on the other hand, have 12 picks in the draft, including 4 first-round picks. So they should load up with a lot of talent. Chicago Bears stadium saga, not done yet. On Tuesday, Governor Pritzker said he is working with the Bears to put together new legislation that could keep the Bears in Illinois, and rather than moving to Hammond, Indiana, which their Board of Trustees, as you heard from Ben Howell of WCBU, has been done. And now Pritzker says that he's willing to call a special session of the General Assembly, which had adjourned and decided not to even vote on the latest legislation. They had kind of given up on trying to help the Bears find a home here in Illinois, but now it looks like they're trying to resurrect that. I think it's all politics, and it's all for show, and it's all one big poker match here. But we'll see what comes of it. But bottom line is, I think it'll be a while before we know for sure
Where the
is
Bears
actually
will
going
be
to happen.
playing, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no matter where they choose, they aren't going anywhere for the time being.
No, even if they do decide to follow through with that commitment that the
years.
board made, to move to Hammond, Indiana, that's a desolate space. It was all, factories, steel factories and chemical factories. There's nothing there now. So it's going to need an incredible amount of infrastructure, new highways and roads. So we're talking probably 2 or 3 years maybe before the Bears can even begin the stadium construction, and maybe 5 years before anything
That long.
would actually be completed to where a move could be made. Yeah, we're looking at probably 2030, 2031 maybe would be the
Wow.
soonest the Bears would be playing games over there. That would be my guess, because things just don't move very fast when it comes to Illinois, although maybe Indiana can move a little faster. I don't know.
Well, we will see. And
That's it.
I take it that's sports?
That'll do it for sports.
All right. Thank you, Gene. You're listening to Breakfast with Roger and Friends, setting the pace for Peoria Radio on WAZU FM 90.7. Also on YouTube around the world at Roger and Friends LS. More news, more weather, more sports, more fun, less commercials. We want to tell you something very important is happening today. In some cases, for some people, do you have papers you want to get shredded? You have things that
I
you
bought
like
a
to get
power
rid of?
shredder.
That's what. You didn't have to do
I've
that.
spent the last 2 weeks shredding old financial records.
Oh, see, you didn't have to do that because today,
I
from
probably
11
didn't.
a.m. to 1 p.m. over in Morton, 107 East Jefferson, State Representative Bill Harder is making available shredding machines to at no cost, no charge, and you can get rid of all your papers or as many as you want.
Do you think they let you just feed them in so you can watch and be sure that your credit card numbers are being chewed up?
I don't know, but I'm going to find out because I have some papers I want to get rid of.
Okay, well,
And,
let me know.
this was done in Morton a couple of years ago, maybe more than a couple of years ago, and people lined up with their cards.
I had tax and credit card statements and all kinds of bank statements, everything going back to the 1980s. And like I said, I spent 2 weeks running that through this power shredder.
Yeah,
that
you
I
got
bought.
an industrial size
yes.
unit, didn't you?
I mean, you should see the dust floating off into the
Yeah.
air and
yeah.
everything as this thing is going.
Yeah.
But it turned it into these little tiny confetti things.
Yeah, rather than the strips.
Right, the strips
I have
you
one
can
of
put
those
back
that
together.
that do
But,
the
but
strips.
this thing not only strips them, but then it chops them as it goes through the
that makes it
circular
complete.
shredder. So they
Yeah.
end up in these little
A cross-cutting shredder.
8x8 millimeter confetti
Yeah.
bits.
Yeah. Well, at any rate, 11 to 1 p.m., 107 East Jefferson, and you can. It's the 2026 Shred event of the year.
Cool. That is really a good idea.
I think
I'll bet
so.
you there
Thank
is a long line for that
Thank you,
again.
Billy. Appreciate it. What do you do with your papers? How do you get rid of? You're out in there. You cannot burn anything in the city anymore. In most cities, but if you live in the country, you can
Big
light
difference.
fire to just about anything,
Yeah.
including your own house.
Yeah.
What do you do with your papers? How do
Well,
you get rid of them? Throw them in a fire and by the river?
Yeah, basically.
That's what I figured.
Because right now I have got a 30-foot circular pile that's about 8 feet high of brambles and wood and all sorts
Oh,
of
really?
combustible stuff.
Well,
that,
we can have a homecoming event for football this year
Oh,
in your
man.
front yard, backyard, side yard.
I tell you what, I've got a pile that unless you've been to a Texas A&M bonfire from 20 years ago, I've had some pretty big bonfires out behind my
I'll
house.
bet.
Yeah.
Do you remember homecoming at Bradley? Didn't they have a bonfire on the campus that they
There
would
was
set
a
fire
bonfire at one time that was yearly done, and it might have been on campus. I'm not sure. Would they have allowed it to be right there?
Well,
in the
that's a
quad?
good question. If it wasn't, I don't know where they would hold it. You can't do it in Bradley Park,
Yeah.
which is nearby, so that is problematic.
Let me see
But
if,
you
I
mentioned
can-
about Texas A&M. That's the one where they really
There were one or two people killed in that collapse
Yeah, I
of,
remember
of
that,
their,
yeah.
of
That
their
was terrible.
That was
structure. They
not a
built this
good idea.
enormous structure as big as like a 4-story building or
Yeah.
something, isn't
And,
it?
like telephone pole sized.
And they hold it together with steel
steel
cables.
cabling and all that.
But
Yeah.
it fell apart 10 or 15 years ago and hurt a lot of people.
Yeah. I personally think they're stupid ideas to celebrate a football game or a homecoming with a big bonfire. At any rate, where are we?
There used to be a bonfire, and it was a number of years ago, and now it's just a, let's see, homecoming now.
It's a cigarette lighter and a
has
cigar.
a fireworks display that replaces the traditional bonfire. So yeah, they replaced the bonfire with fireworks, maybe back in the teens or so. So it hasn't been for 8 or 10 years that they've had a bonfire. But yeah, they used to do it right there on campus.
Yeah, I miss homecoming. The whole community misses it. They used to decorate the houses,
Yeah.
and I don't know whether they do it in any college anymore. And there used to be a big parade in downtown Peoria that would start from the hilltop and go down Main Street all the way to the downtown area. And I remember one year there was a fire in one of the floats because, they used tissue paper to make with
Yeah.
chicken wire and so forth.
Napkins.
And
paper napkins.
we did that one year for the Santa Claus parade. We got some volunteers together, and our mascot was a bear, the We Care Bear, as we called it. And we had pizza parties and so forth, and had a wagon that was donated for the Santa Claus parade, and we decorated. Anyway, getting back to Bradley, one of the floats caught on fire, and the kids safely exited from the vehicle because it spread very quickly and widely, again, because it was all tissue paper.
Yeah, the Texas A&M bonfire collapse killed 12 people. I didn't
Ooh,
remember.
I didn't
that.
know that.
Injured
Double
27 others.
Oh, my
that was
goodness.
That was in November of 1999. 59-foot high structure consisting of 5,000 logs that they set fire to. But they were
5,000
still
logs, yeah.
apparently trying to
Wow.
secure it together when there were quite a few people climbed up onto the structure when it collapsed.
Yeah. Switching gears, speaking of celebrations, I just love when you're not seeing a lot on the major or the larger networks, CBS, NBC, et cetera, and so forth. But the people who are visiting this country from other countries during the World Cup
Oh yeah.
are in love with the United States of America. My favorite clip that I've seen are the Norwegians. And I don't know how many Norwegians there were, but they were feign rowing, were they not, as part of their celebration of
That's
being
part
in
of
this
their
country?
celebration, yes.
Yeah.
Going up the escalators, rowing like they're on a Viking longship.
Yes.
That's it.
And then I saw a clip of a very attractive young woman who was bragging about shopping at a Walmart. And another guy in a Walmart, they couldn't believe all the things what they need to do is get in the car and go to, what do you call those, Wally?
Buc-ee's?
Buc-ee's, yeah.
Oh, yeah, there's been quite a few on social media people
Talking about those.
stopping at Buc-ee's and raving
Well,
about
I'm excited about it. I want to go on vacation just to stop at a
They
Buc-ee's.
sell these things called Buc-ee's beaver balls. I don't know what they're made out of, but apparently everybody just loves them. And,
I think they're beaver nuggets.
beaver nuggets?
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
sorry.
one person was excited about eating a Chick-fil-A. Well,
Yes.
that's not unusual. I get excited about eating a chicken fillet.
Yes,
Yeah.
I did. I ate there yesterday with our granddaughter. Yes, delicious. I don't know what do they do with the chicken. It's so much more tender than it is.
Well, first of all,
Popeyes or
Whatever it is probably unhealthy because it's delicious.
Yeah, exactly. I asked the server at Chick-fil-A, I said, how do you prepare your chicken? And she said, we just tell him he's going to die.
It's funny every time you say.
I know, we always go back to a Royce Elliott joke
Yeah.
on it. But you know, what the World Cup has done for the United States, they could not buy in advertising dollars.
No.
Because these people are just raving. In the meantime, you've got these far-left dingbats in New York bragging about how they're going to change this country that foreigners love better than they do.
Well, I would be willing to trade as many of them as we can
Yeah.
for a number of, some more Norwegians, maybe a few Scots.
Yeah.
The Scots,
The English,
are,
the Scots.
yeah, I mean, if
yeah.
you don't like it here, feel free to move somewhere else that you'll like.
You know what we can do? We can arrange for Mayor Mandami and his communist partners to leave on a submarine. You know, wouldn't that be neat? Just pull up in the harbor of New York City and say free pass to
North Korea.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't think they'd let them into South Korea. They probably would in North Korea for that matter. But, well, that's another story for another time. Well, we're at the bottom of the hour. We're going to be talking, I believe, if my schedule is correct, Dr. Joe Couri, speaking of great American events, the Shish Kebab, I believe is coming up this weekend, and that is a big event. In the meantime, let's bring you up to date. Investment questions and information, consider Bob Manning of the Grandview Capital Group at Morgan Stanley in Peoria. Bob is Senior Vice President, has been in the investment advisory field now for more than 27 years. His telephone number, 309-671-4653. Morgan Stanley Smith Barney, LLC, member SIPC. Mike, what do you have in the way of headlines?
Well, Roger, let's start out with President Trump last night kicked off the country's official 250th anniversary celebration on the National Mall. Called the Great American State Fair, it featured patriotic music and the spoken word from the president as he hailed America's history and progress. Congress joined in the celebration by sealing a time capsule to be opened on July 4th, 2276. A bipartisan committee placed a variety of items in the capsule that they say reflect and commemorate who the nation is today. The contents include a joint letter from congressional leadership, copies of key legislative milestones, and other, probably boring, papers.
Yeah, can you imagine 250 years from now, is anybody going to care about any of that
No.
stuff? Why not
No.
put a couple of gold coins in there? It'll be worth about 8.5 million
Yeah,
by that time.
right.
Yeah.
You know, what a great idea that is. Or stamps. You know, today's stamps,
or-
which are what, 78 cents and
Yeah.
and
Or a bottle of
22.76
wine from the Trump winery.
There you go. Well, I think the stamps, you get the forever stamps. So
Yes.
that way, I
Oh,
mean,
yeah, it's all-
you
You know,
put
you-
2 or 3 books in there, you'll be able to mail an aircraft
Yeah,
carrier.
because
Yeah.
by
It'll
then
be worth
a stamp would
about
probably cost
$1.5 million.
$5
Yeah.
to mail a letter.
But anyway, the
Yes.
Probably born
They'll be
papers.
looted before then.
Yeah, the capsule's supposed to be
you're
placed
right,
beneath the U.S. Capitol building. I'm kind of wondering, what are they going to jack the building up and roll it underneath there? Or maybe they'll just hide it somewhere.
Lift up
in
a
the,
floorboard and stuff it in.
Yeah. Put it in the basement.
I'll tell you what, put it in Joe Biden's garage. Nobody worries about
no one
what's
will
in his
find it.
garage.
Yeah.
Nobody will go there.
Well, today the U.S. Department of Interior is opening, for the first time, for public viewing, the undercroft of the Lincoln Memorial. It's a 43,800 square foot underground foundation that's been transformed into a 15,000 square foot museum and exhibition space that includes original signed copies of the Emancipation Proclamation and the 13th Amendment, as well as other historical documents. President Trump took it on the judicial chin yesterday when Democrat federal judge Denise Casper ruled that he had no authority to issue an executive order requiring proof of citizenship in order to vote. The judge said Trump exceeded existing law. The White House says the ruling makes it easier for non-qualified people to vote. Judge Casper was appointed to the bench by President Obama. Peoria police report the arrest of a 14-year-old boy, charging the teen with possession of a handgun. Officers grabbed the boy in the 1800 block of North New York Avenue after receiving a tip. He's at the County Juvenile Center right now, facing additional charge of aggravated assault. 18-year-old Quinzel Foy is going to prison for 3.5 years after he pled guilty to the robbery of a 15-year-old last February. Foy was part of a group of youngsters who stole 2 vehicles and led police on a chase through the streets of Peoria. That chase ended at the intersection of University and Main Street. Officials of the Riverfront Museum have received an original 1883 William Stone print of the 1776 Declaration of Independence. The rare piece, donated by Diane and Doug Oberhelman, was unveiled last night at the museum. And Roger, that's it for news at the bottom of the hour.
Yeah, I also want to point out there's a breaking story about a devastating, I believe, 7.1 earthquake in Venezuela. Two waves,
One
two
was
shock waves.
7.5 and then 7.1. And yes, I saw a video and numerous buildings, and some of
Have
them
collapsed.
10 stories and higher have collapsed.
Yeah,
And
not good.
So the death toll is going to be substantial.
164 people at this point have been killed.
Yeah, it's probably going to
by
go into the
earthquake,
thousands.
and close to 1,000 injured. So this is devastating, and President Trump has acted very, very quickly to give aid to Venezuela. That's gone from somewhat of an enemy or an opposing force to a cooperative, supportive country for the United States. All right, let's take a check of the weather since we just had the news. And the weather this morning is brought to you by Kathy Reynolds of Home Smart. More people turning to Kathy Reynolds because she gets good results. She works hard to get results for her clients seeking to sell and or buy their next home. And you can reach Kathy Reynolds today of Home Smart at 309-696-2162. Today, mostly cloudy, high of 81, and we won't get any rain until maybe late tonight. 30% chance for rain after 3 a.m. Overnight low 63. Tomorrow cloudy, and we're going to see showers and lots of it, maybe some thunder boomers as well. The high only 75 tomorrow, and tomorrow night more showers. Overnight low 64. Saturday cloudy 83. And we get the heat wave rolling in on Sunday. Hot, a high of 91. It'll be hot on Monday at 94 and Tuesday at 95. And right now our temperature is 68 degrees. Yeah, bad weather.
Can I also add one other little piece of breaking news? Bradley sports related.
Okay. Don't lose your
I have to
microphone.
do a little work on this
Yeah,
here. It's
little,
coming loose. But not not released yet officially, but we have the story on BradleyFans.com that Bradley is losing a very important member of the Bradley Athletic Department administration.
Oh, really?
Now, this is a name that most people will not have known. Everybody knows Chris Reynolds, the athletic director
Right.
at Bradley, but his deputy for the last several years has been Brad Chandler. He's a lawyer, but has also got a degree in athletic administration and has worked at Ohio State and Michigan State prior to coming to Bradley as the deputy athletic director. So he is the top assistant under Chris Reynolds. He has just been hired by Wright State University over in Dayton. As
I always wondered where Rice was.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I had it in
Dayton,
Texas.
right in the middle of the state.
But that's in Ohio.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wright is named after
Oh,
Orville
right.
Wilbur.
I was thinking of Rice, R-I-C-E.
Oh, right. No,
You're
Rice is
talking
in
about
Texas.
Wright
Yeah.
State, W-R-I-G-H-T.
Wright State.
Right
correct.
State.
Yep.
Yeah, they're in what, the Mid-America Conference?
Correct. But he is now their new athletic director. Good guy, again, a name that most people don't recognize, but he has been extremely important in, the last few years in athletics has been the most rapid changing environment that it's ever been with this name, image, and likeness, all these changes now with college eligibility that are coming into play. So many things, the transfer portal and all these transfers going on. And Brad Chandler has been really at the forefront of helping Bradley adjust to all of these changes and really kind of stay ahead of most schools and allow Bradley to remain successful in most all of their athletic programs. So it's a tough loss. Brad, I've gotten to know him slightly. A really good guy, well liked by everybody. And he'll be missed, but of course we wish him good luck at Wright State, and hopefully we'll find somebody to replace him, but that'll be tough to do. Yeah, just the blows keep coming because as you get successful, everybody wants to hire your good people away. And every one of Coach Wardle's assistants in the last 2 years have all been hired away. So he's got an entirely new staff. In fact, we just lost 3 more people from the basketball staff within the last couple of months. So tough to lose good people, but Bradley continues to stay ahead by hiring good people as well.
Never seems to worry us, so does it?
Well, I'm not sure we ever had any good people here. So.
I know. We make good ones. Speaking of good people, Dr. Joe Couri, retired well-known rheumatologist in Peoria for many, many years. Good to see you, Joe.
Yeah, same here.
It's that time of the year, isn't it?
Oh, yes.
We have how many years are we talking about? We've had the shish kebab.
Well, I'm glad you asked that question.
Okay, I'm glad I asked it too.
59
I know
years.
you have the answer. Wow.
59 years. This year will be the 99th I-2 supper.
Yeah. Tell us, when you talk about shish kebab, what kind of Lebanese cuisine are we talking about?
Well, the main Lebanese cuisine is cabbage rolls.
Oh, yeah, I love cabbage rolls. Absolutely. Yep. What's in a cabbage roll besides cabbage?
Well, there's beef, little chunks of beef, and spices and rice. And
all good,
roll it
healthy
up in the
food.
cabbage, and you cook it in tomato sauce.
Wonderful.
If you go to Lebanon, do they also use lamb?
When we were over there, we were walking around in this one small town and went by a butcher shop. There was a whole lamb hanging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I know these days, unfortunately, with the the economy over there, I have a feeling probably not.
Probably not. That's interesting because I'm sure you've experienced that in your trips to Europe. It's not unusual to see people on bicycles with a loaf of bread, uncovered, no wrapping from paper or just strapped to the back seat of a bicycle. Food, we look at food differently, I guess. I'm sure things have changed since I was there back in the late 1950s, for that matter. Well, anyway, back to the shish kebab. Tell us what else is on the menu.
Beef and chicken shish kebabs, salad, and pita bread. Pretty straightforward menu. And we serve, it's this Sunday, June 28th, 11 o'clock to 6 p.m. serving. You can go to i2society.org if you want to pre-order a meal, and then we have carryouts from inside, but we also have a drive-through, which will be the people who have pre-ordered.
I see. Okay. You can't drive through and order. You have to pre-order to go through the drive-through.
I'm pretty sure, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So you have dine-in, carry-out, and drive-through.
Right.
And not only beef or chicken shish kebab, but cabbage rolls, salad, and bread.
Yes.
Yeah. And if you dine in, you obviously have drink. Well, I guess you probably could order drink as well.
Sure. Yeah, we have a bar. Bar's open.
Mm-hmm.
Bar's open.
There you
Yeah.
go.
And live entertainment, what kind of live entertainment do you have?
Well,
You'll be strumming the
inside.
guitar, won't
Yeah,
you?
yeah. And Brian from
Brian Ellis?
Brian.
Okay, Brian will be there.
Brian will be playing outside
Outside.
from Jam Sandwich.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Joe, what's the estimated population of the Lebanese community in the Peoria area? You have any idea?
My dad always used to say about 6,000.
So around 6,000. And explain
Probably
the
more
difference
now, 'cause
between
that was 25 years ago.
You are a C couri, C-O-U-R-I, and then there's a K couri. But I'm going to guess you're all related.
Oh, yes.
That's what I figured.
So people will ask, are you C Cory or K Cory? And I say both, because my mom was K Cory and my dad was C Cory.
Interesting.
So if you go back 5 generations, my dad has traced that back to a priest, and he was in Lebanon, or in Arabic, priest is Couri. And so he was a Slyman, but he took the name, for whatever reason, there's legends why he took the name Couri, but so he had 3 sons, and from those three sons, all the Couris in town, Kouri, Couri, Khouri, Khouri, Corey, all came from those 3 chains.
Is there a chance the reason it was that way is because you folks had a hard time learning how to spell?
That's right.
The Peoria WTVP did a documentary on the Lebanese community in
Yes.
Peoria a few years ago, and one of the things they said was that many of them came to the U.S. Unable to read or write English, obviously, and so it was up to the people on Ellis Island to somehow figure out how to spell the name. They could say the name, but they couldn't spell it. So yeah, and plus the language and the alphabet is different from the Arabic world. So yeah, it was just written down for them by people who were trying to figure out how to best spell it, and that's why the variations existed too. So.
Yeah.
I
think they had. I think they had people who could translate some of the languages. I don't know about Arabic. I'll have to ask my brother Randy. So when we went to Ellis Island, we couldn't find my grandfather, and it turns out he gave the name Nachla Gatos. Nachla is Michael, and Gatos is his dad. So, so what they do, I'm Yusuf Nachla Gatos, I have two more great grandfathers' names, and so that'd be my official name in Lebanon.
Yeah, you say you were.
So he just gave his name and his dad's name, and that's how he was in.
You said you visited Lebanon. How long ago was that?
12, 13 years.
Yeah, years. Not a good place to visit today, unfortunately, due to Hezbollah. Do you have relatives living in Lebanon today?
Yeah.
Do you communicate with them at all?
No, not really.
Yeah.
So, the Couri family who have the Couri cuisines, Bob the barber, they all have close family over there, and they still go back. There's people that can go back this summer, they'll definitely be traveling there. It doesn't stop them.
Yeah.
Because
Well-
we're in the north, I-2 is in the northern mountains, so, not much happens there.
Well, let's talk about Dr. Joe Couri. Reminding everybody this Sunday from 11 to 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. the annual shish kebab at the I-2 Hall on Farmington Road. Tell us about Joe Couri. What did your parents do, and how did you make the decision? You know what? I want to be a doctor.
Well, my dad and his 6 brothers had a grocery store in East Peoria, Couri's Food Town. You probably remember that.
I sure do.
And so I started working there when I was 16 in the meat department, and my uncles would say, "You're not going to end up in this meat department. You're going to college." so I heard that quite a few times, and that was my plan anyway. And then so I think it was probably my senior year in high school. They said, "Oh, well, let's go talk." My dad said, "Let's go talk to Dr. Pete Couri, the gynecologist."
Pete, yeah.
And so he talked about being a doctor, and so I said, "Yeah, I knew I wanted to do something." I was kind of a people person, I guess, and recognized that. And so I said, "Okay, that sounds good," and went to undergrad. And figured, yes, I want St. Louis U.
St. Louis University, okay.
And then I started working at St. Francis during the summers in college as an orderly. And now they're called CNAs, I guess you might say. And so that kind of solidified, my decision to be a doctor. I tell people I literally started from the bottom up, doing bedpans and enemas, things like that. And I got a great appreciation for all the para personnel, nursing, housekeeping, dietitian, so it gave me a good perspective when I became a real doctor.
How did you decide to specialize in rheumatology and arthritis?
Well, both of my grandmothers had significant arthritis, so I kind of thought about that some, but then what really made the decision was my senior year of medical school. We had, Gene can attest to this, we had elective times we could spend, in our senior year. So I heard the rheumatologist was a good teacher, and spent a month with him, and so he had a resident doing a rheumatology rotation, and he had a rheumatology fellow. So those guys, they all kind of took me under their wing, and so then I went to Cleveland Clinic, and one of my first rotations in the clinic was rheumatology, and so that I really knew then for sure with all that experience.
Yeah, is the gold standard doctors for arthritis pain still the aspirin?
No, it's moved on a little.
And we moved up on that.
Joe can
Take an
elaborate.
aspirin, go to bed, and you should feel better tomorrow.
Yeah, we have, fortunately, a lot of choices, different anti-inflammatories for osteoarthritis, Tylenol. We also talk about, heat and ice and exercise, really, push the, exercise, etc., stretching, physical therapy, water therapy. And then when it comes to more inflammatory arthritis, like rheumatoid, we have just tons of medicines now, all these biologics, so many new biologics in the last 9 years since I retired, I haven't really kept track of them, but when I retired, we had about eight or nine biologics, I think.
Mm-hmm.
9 years ago, something like that.
That reminds me, I was involved with, for many, many years with Lucille Dutro and the Arthritis Foundation, served on the board and so forth. One of the most interesting stories that I heard about how if you suffer from arthritis, the best thing you can do after taking medicine and doesn't help is move to Arizona. And I know one particular case, and I'm sure you heard more than one, where someone sold their house and went to Arizona, and they still had arthritis. It doesn't work out that way all the time, does it?
Some people do feel better, but
Well, because of the heat.
to varying degrees.
Yeah. Do you miss practicing?
Well, you miss,
medicine?
and I suspect Gene will say the same thing. You miss the satisfaction of helping people, miss the the camaraderie in the office at the hospital, and you're going around talking to people, and just kind of a social aspect there. But I do not miss the medical record. Epic.
Oh, God.
That
And
drove a
battling
lot of
insurance.
people out
Yeah.
of practice, was the conversion to the electronic medical record.
Yeah.
Turns out, at least initially, it took way more time than it was advertised to take. In other words, it was supposed to be a shortcut, medical record keeping and all that, but well, I spent more time in front of a computer than I did in front of patients.
Isn't it interesting, doctors and attorneys here as well, as part of the scenario, you might say, is that the bureaucrats have made paperwork and computers so necessary, and yet we're seeing more fraud today than in the history of medicine.
I actually think that fraud has been going on a long time. We're just uncovering more now than we ever did. And voice recognition and AI have really improved the medical record keeping way beyond where it was when Joe and I started having to do that. So it is probably at a state now where it's better. But boy, when they implemented it at first, and I don't type. You see me here poking one finger.
Two fingers.
And for me, it just took inordinate amounts of time. And I know guys like Dave Johnson and Jim Barr, they all had it. They quit at that point.
You're talking about other doctors.
Other doctors who just decided, and they were ready to retire, but this is what really pushed the
hastened
button.
it. Yeah. Well, isn't it true that quite frequently, and maybe more than one is too frequent, force doctors to change computer systems at great expense? Was that one of the...
If you were an independent practicing doctor and not an employed doctor in a corporate setting, in order to bill Medicare, you had to buy and upgrade your software with very expensive software upgrades, yes. And my brother remained a solo independent practitioner to the final point where Medicare started penalizing him for billing, without the electronic billing, and he finally just decided it wasn't worth it, and he retired. I think all of us would have probably stayed in practice longer if it hadn't been for those kinds of overbearing changes in Medicare.
But, and another big change that's happened in medicine is, and you mentioned your brother, that, and you were for many years in solo practice, and I think you were as well, Dr. Couri, for a long time. But today, it's rare when you hear of a doctor in solo practice that they almost have been forced to become part of a group practice. Yeah. Am I right?
Oh. No, it's virtually doesn't exist anymore, at least at the primary care level. Some specialists have managed to stay independent of the corporate systems, but it's just difficult to do.
Yeah.
Well, I was independent for about 13 years, and then Methodist was putting together their medical group, and I think you guys joined about the same time, maybe.
1993 through 2000, I was part of that medical group. Yeah.
Well, I happen to know a doctor that I go to who's in solo practice, and he's close to starving. I mean, when you're in your business by yourself, if you don't join Carl Health or OSF, they almost virtually freeze you out of the business because you don't get referrals.
Well, in our case, they bought the building that our practice was in, and then they wouldn't rent space to us unless we signed a contract.
I always thought that was illegal.
Well,
you remember a Methodist hospital in Houston, Texas, got fined big time for skullduggery, similar to what you're describing, because they had their ways of doing things. That's right. You won't join them. Okay, we'll buy the building from whoever owned it, and what are you left to do? Work out of the basement, the undercroft of your house?
Right.
Or hire lawyers and go bankrupt paying lawyer bills.
Yeah.
Oh,
well, I mean, hey, I made a very nice living because of things like that. So,
That's why you retired at 32.
Oh, God. Well,
Yeah.
geez.
Well, let's get back to shish kebab, okay?
Yes.
And
what are the hours again? Give us.
11 to 6.
And that is Saturday or
this
Sunday?
Sunday?
This is
Only. Sunday.
I'm
at
hungry already.
the I-2
Ag
Hall.
Society, 4909 Farmington
yeah.
Road, top of the hill.
You can't miss. Everybody knows where the I-2 Hall is. And everybody knows that Joe Couri is also a singer and composer. When did you pick up the guitar?
Well, I'm glad you asked that question.
Oh, you haven't? Good, wonderful. Just happened to bring it along, didn't you, from the trunk of your car?
So, yeah, I started playing in college. So, have you guys been down to the museum, to the
Yes.
exhibit, amazing exhibit? So this is a song that I wrote it because the guy who set up the exhibit asked me to write it.
Oh, really?
And because I had told him I was a songwriter, and it's based on George Washington was sent a letter by a Jewish community, and they said, and the head of the community said, you know, we've been oppressed for ever and ever. We're in your country now, and do these new laws apply to us? And Washington sent him a letter. He said, to bigotry, no sanction. To persecution, no assistance. And it was a great letter, and it just resonated through all the colonies, through all the colonies and all the religions, because, you know, not all the other religions felt, you know, safe at that point in terms of freedom and not being oppressed by other religions. So it's considered one of his most important documents.
Okay, here's
It's called. So these are my lyrics, but it's an AI generated music.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Here's Dr. Joe Couri.
No sanction, Washington said without pause. To persecution, no assistance. These are based on our laws. Our tradition was built on the ideals that we know, which helped our nation prosper and grow. They came to the new world, seeking a new life, escaping a time of intolerance and strife. The laws of their lands made them yearn to be free, to worship or not, when a word was the key. They came with hope, but also some fear. They hoped it would be better here. Our country was young, everything was new. Would they be accepted when known as a Jew? George Washington was truly a man of his word. When he spoke, everyone heard. His message always rang clear and true. In the fullness of time, these important words grew. To bigotry, no sanction, Washington said without pause. To persecution, no assistance. These are based on our laws. Our tradition was built on the ideals that we know, which helped our nation prosper and grow. The lessons learned on that historic day are felt by those who worship different ways. Diversity with which we are blessed is celebrated by all through George's quest. His final thought for us in his plea, that we sit in safety under a vine and fig tree. Too big a tree, no sanction, Washington said without pause. To persecution, no assistance, these are based on our laws. Our tradition was built on the ideals that we know, which helped our nation prosper and grow.
Wow, that's absolutely wonderful. You know what makes that so unique, and well, first of all, the lyrics are wonderful, and the music. It almost has an Irish influence to the music with the sound of the violin.
You can come up with any sound you want by telling it what you want. Rock, soft rock, blues, Irish, hip hop, and then you say male voice, female voice, strong male voice, tempo, and then.
Well, wasn't
put
that
in all
you?
No,
That was AI.
Yeah.
That was.
You're kidding.
Yeah, that was all done by
I was
artificial
thinking, I said,
intelligence.
No.
Joe sounds different in this.
I wish I could sing like that.
Yeah.
Are those your lyrics, though?
Those are my lyrics.
That's
Yeah.
what I'm
Yeah.
thinking. That was his lyrics, and he just fed that into
And
an AI
you just
program.
paste it in, and I say, violin, fiddle, mandolin, banjo, guitar, keys.
Did you have to tweak it a little as you went?
No.
So it really just came
Wow.
out like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
That is
I
amazing.
tweak it by saying, I don't know, let me do it again. So I hit it again. Maybe I might change something. Change
Okay,
the
yeah, that's what I meant,
instrumentation. Then I might tweak it that way by doing it all over again. Sometimes I'll do 5 or 6 versions before I come up with the one I like. So, and then you press start, and like within a minute, it comes out with this whole song.
That's amazing.
It's crazy.
I attended a wedding last weekend and met a guy that does this very thing, and it blew my mind. And you walk in, and you've already done it. I'm going to interview him. I said, "Can I interview you?" And he was talking about AI-generated music.
Yeah.
But this is unbelievable.
I know. It's crazy.
And so, do you have any idea? Does AI grab somebody's voice and use it? I mean, nobody knows. Nobody knows but Jesus.
It's it's amazing when you listen to things on the computer, how much of what you're being, how much of the audio is actually just computer generated. There's no person that's being hired to
This is
read
wild.
this.
It is. It really is.
Yeah, it's your GPS. There's not some woman that's sitting there recording. Okay, now I've got to say Cicero Avenue. Now I've got to say I-55 South, I-55 North.
Yeah.
This is just
It's-
being generated
blows
as it's
your mind.
being needed.
And yet, when you talk about AI, and we've all used it, we've also discovered it's not always accurate.
Well,
I mean, in this
it's getting
case,
better, right? I mean, it searches the internet like every 5 seconds or something. It searches everything on the internet. So it's basically at the whim of what they're finding on the internet, and that can be wrong sometimes. But the more and more that it does that, I think it gets more accurate and more complete as time goes by. But there's always still going to be that uncertainty that it's quoting something or using some information that wasn't accurate.
There's a definite differences of opinion among musicians.
Oh, yeah.
The pure
I can imagine.
Barry Cloyd
yeah.
is not a fan.
Well, I
A
understand.
lot of
right.
people in you can make full movies now just
Right.
by telling AI what the plot is. Bingo, and that saves $50 million in computer graphics
And salary.
and production costs and salaries. Yeah, and you can even make the stars the real appearing Hollywood stars, but now that's not legal. They would
Okay,
sue for.
so could I say to AI, let's do Breakfast with Roger and Friends, and give me a new staff of support.
And make me a few years younger.
Yeah.
Now, the title is, help me out on the title. The title is To Bigotry, No
Sanction.
Sanction. That's kind of a difficult
Those are his
title.
real words.
Did you make that up?
No, those are his words.
Yeah.
That's the words.
Well,
All this is started on the words
there's
of
a
his
better-
letter.
I think a better title would be Georgie Porgy.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You can even.
That's too much of a title.
You can even put in a topic and throw in some ideas on this topic. It'll write a whole song for you. The lyrics. It'll write
This
the
is
lyrics.
just unbelievable.
Yeah.
You know, we may be living in an age where we don't need entertainers anymore.
No, I don't
What
think
would
that'll
you
be
do
the
if-
case. I don't
if-
think that'll ever be
No,
the
no,
case.
no. Well, I hope not. People love to hear Dr. Joe Couri and Mohammed and bring us up to date in your latest program to help influence the lives of young people to, when they come to a fork in the road, to take the right fork.
Yeah. So our project Don't Start, telling kids don't start gangs, guns, drugs, bullying, vaping, etc. Stay in school, be a leader. The biggest thing we've done in the last couple months, we went to Richwood Central and Manual, talked to 1,500
Good for you.
sophomores and freshmen, and showed our video, and gave our talk. And then, have you heard of City Kids Camp?
I've heard of it, but
I
I
think
don't
we
know
had-
much about it.
Did I have you interview those guys? No, maybe not. That'd be a
No,
good
I don't
interview.
think so.
I think
No.
that'd be a good interview.
Yeah. Well, what kind of feedback are you getting when you give these programs? Do you hear from the kids come up afterward and say, "I'm
Yes.
glad you talked to
Oh,
us"?
yeah, we definitely
Good.
get good I'll send you a video.
Okay.
That war shot right after we were at the camp a couple weeks ago. This is a camp started by two guys from Chicago. They bring kids down from the hood who've never, most likely, the vast majority have never been out in nature, and they're here for a week. It's an old Methodist camp outside of Lewiston, and so this last couple of years, 3 years, they brought Peoria kids for one of the weeks. So we did 4 weeks of it 2 years ago, and we didn't do last year because you had a lot going on, and this year we just did the Peoria kids. There'll be about
good.
100 kids.
And that's a good experience. You get outside, a number of years ago, I was Boy Scout troop for an inner city Boy Scout troop. We had 22 kids. 20 of them were African Americans. Many of them were for staff homes, and we took them out on a weekend of camping, and along with our two sons at that time. And I don't mind telling you, it was not only exhilarating for them, it was exhilarating for us. That kids who've never been camp learned about cooking over a fire and exploring nature, Mother Nature. And as I said, it was a wonderful experience in that. So that has to be a great idea and a great success.
Yeah, I'll call the guy. I think it'd be a good interview, interesting interview for you,
You bet.
over the phone. So-
Okay, let's wrap things up, Joe, if you don't mind, and remind everybody about what's happening this Sunday.
Okay, this Sunday, the 59th annual I2 Shish Kebab at the I2 Hall, 4909 Farmington Road, top of the hill, serving 11 to 6 o'clock. Shish kebab, chicken or beef, cabbage rolls, salad, bread. You can dine in, you can carry out, you can pre-order at i2society.org, and then there'll be a drive-through line to pick up pre-orders.
And if you dine in, you'll be treated to the music of Dr. Joe Couri. And what's your most requested song that you do for your shtick?
Maybe Brown Eyed Girl.
Okay. Well, Joe will be there, and urge everybody to attend, have fun, good food, good fellowship.
And you can eat inside or out. We'll have a tent outside.
All right, Joe, thanks for coming in.
Yeah,
Keep up
thanks
the
for-
good work, my friend.
Thank you.
Appreciate it very much.
Appreciate it, yeah.
News, weather, sports coming up at the top of the hour, and we'll bring you up to date on what's happening locally, nationally, and worldwide, for that matter, on WACU FM 90.7 in beautiful Peoria, Illinois. Also on YouTube at Roger and Friends LS. Thanks for watching, everybody. everybody. It is a Thursday, the 25th of June. And let's take a check of the weather, brought to you this morning by Steve Sink. He's a managing partner of PHX Affiliate. Steve, neat guy. I've gotten acquainted with Steve. He's been a business broker for over 20 years. He works with folks confidentially and professionally for the sale or purchase of a business. And you can get more information from Steve at 309-696-8508. We can tell you today it'll be mostly cloudy, a high of 80, mostly cloudy overnight with a 30% chance for rain after 3 a.m., the overnight low 63. Tomorrow it'll be cloudy, good chance for rain, and a high of only 75 tomorrow. More rain tomorrow night, cloudy with a low 64. For the weekend, Saturday cloudy, 83. And look at Sunday, sunny and hot, 91. Monday, sunny and hot, and 94. Do I hear 95? 95 it is on Tuesday, and right now we're at 68 degrees. That's your live weather report, as always, on WAZU. Now the news with our lead story. Here's Mike Dentino. Michael?
Thanks, Roger. Well, President Trump last night kicked off the country's official 250th anniversary celebration on the National Mall. Called the Great American State Fair, it featured patriotic music and the spoken word from the president as he hailed America's history and progress.
Congress joined in the celebration by sealing a time capsule to be opened July 4th, 2276. A bipartisan committee, that means Republicans and Democrats, placed a variety of items in the capsule. They said reflect and commemorate who the nation is today, as if anybody's going to be interested back 250 years later. Maybe they will. The contents include a joint letter from congressional leadership, copies of key legislative milestones, and other boring papers. The capsule to be placed beneath the U.S. Capitol building.
Today, the U.S. Department of the Interior is opening, for the first time, for public viewing, the undercroft of the Lincoln Memorial. That's a 43,800 square foot underground foundation that has been transformed into a 15,000 square foot museum and exhibition space that includes original signed copies of the Emancipation Proclamation and the 13th Amendment, as well as other historical documents.
President Trump took it on the judicial chin when Democrat federal judge Denise Casper ruled he had no authority to issue an executive order requiring proof of citizenship in order to vote. The judge said Trump exceeded existing law. The White House said the ruling makes it easier for non-qualified people to vote. Judge Casper, by the way, was appointed to the bench by President Obama.
U.S. and Iranian officials have wrapped up negotiations in Switzerland, establishing a framework aimed at reaching a peace agreement, hopefully within the next 60 days. Allegedly, the United States has agreed to release $12 billion of frozen Iranian assets, and the Straits of Hormuz is open, allowing for the free movement of oil tankers and other supply ships.
The truth of the matter, gentlemen, is it not that we really don't know what the hell is going on, do we?
No. This is just kind of a stab in the dark, and frankly, I have almost zero level of confidence that the Iranians will follow through
I agree.
on what they're doing. But everyone wants us to, we can't be sending equipment over there and bombing stuff. We have to use diplomatic solutions. And now we're using a diplomatic solution, and everyone's going to say, oh, Trump got taken to the cleaners. He capitulated. He folded like a cheap tent.
Yeah.
So, I mean, face it, for Trump, it's a no-win situation. Yeah.
Well, Wall Street apparently likes the news. The Dow ended yesterday at 52,273. When Trump entered the White House in January of this year, the Dow was at 48,382. Canada, by the way, reached $409 per share in January of this year, and last night it soared to just over $1,000 a share.
Is right. right.
You and your wife, I think, are billionaires now.
Well, I've changed. I'm no longer lighting my cigars with 20s. I'm using 100s.
50s?
No, I skipped over the 50s.
Yeah.
I also bought a new monocle.
Yeah, okay. And a cane.
Yes, indeed. Peoria police report the arrest of a 14-year-old boy, charging the teen with possession of a handgun. Officers grabbed the boy in the 1800 block of North New York Avenue after receiving a tip. He's at the County Juvenile Center now, facing an additional charge of aggravated assault.
14 years old. What were the two of you doing when you were 14? What was your activity at 14?
I was
Gene?
delivering newspapers on my bike in the
all right,
morning,
yeah.
and then going
And
to
collecting
school.
in the evening.
Collecting once a month at the end of the month. Yeah. That was plenty
That
for
was
me.
it, yeah. How about you, Mike?
Oh,
What
I was also delivering papers and spending most of the proceeds on model airplanes and probably sniffing a lot of model airplane glue.
You took the smell right out of my nose. I remember doing the same thing, and the odor of that glue. What they call that? I know it was glue, but I thought there was a trade name of sorts. I just know.
For the glue itself?
Oh, there's testers.
Testers. It was airplane glue.
It was for styrene plastic. There was a name for it.
If you took a deep breath, it went right up your nose, and
it had very potent and volatile hydrocarbon type solvents in it. Yeah, toluene, benzene. These are chemicals that kind of can give you a little bit of a high, but they can also be very harmful to the system. They are not chemicals that are easily metabolized.
But nobody talked about the danger of that. We just bought it, and it was a white, clear substance, as I recall. And the wood was balsam wood, as I recall, and then we had that tissue paper that
put over the
now,
plane.
by Mike's era, they were plastic.
They're plastic, but
mine was balsa wood.
No, I made one. I did make one balsa wood plane, and then covered it with tissue paper and what they called dope. Which was just I can't even think of the name of it. It was just like a
pasty thing,
like a clear chemical wash that you put over the paper that made it sturdier,
more rigid,
and more rigid.
Well, you must have had greater skill. I don't remember doing it. I just know that you wrapped it with red, in my case, red tissue paper for the plane. And when I got done, it looked like a piece of crap, but I was very proud of it. I was very proud of my crap.
Well, that's I only made one out of balsa wood and tissue paper because it was hard.
Oh, yes, it was. How many times were we frustrated when you had to hold something, pinched the paste, the glue, and it came out, but you had to hold it sometimes.
And then as you
your
thumb
pull it off.
You're right. Your thumb would break it. And, I was too young to swear because I knew that if I did, I'd get in trouble. And that's why I like the movie, The Christmas Story, where the woman washes the kid's mouth out with Lifebuoy.
Yeah.
And,
oh, jeez.
Anyway, 18-year-old Quincy Foy, he's going to prison, so he won't get to make those airplane models that we made. He's going to be there for 3.5 years. He pleaded guilty to the robbery of a 15-year-old last February. Foy was a part of a group of youngsters, and that's been very kind, who sold 2 vehicles. One was a Jeep, you may recall. He wound up leading police in a chase through the streets of Peoria that came all the way out to Richwoods, as a matter of fact. But it finally ended at the intersection of University and Main Streets, where I think a total of those 6 kids all arrested. And also we have what's going on at the Riverfront Museum.
The officials at the Riverfront Museum have received an original 1883 William Stone print of the 1776 Declaration of Independence. The rare piece was donated by Diane and Doug Oberhelman and was unveiled last night at the museum. So I'll have to go. I'm looking forward to going down and actually seeing that.
Yeah, that would be neat, won't it? Okay, that's a look at some of the stories we are following. You know, finding the right home care team can be a challenge, but not if you choose Spoon River Home Health. That's the company founded by registered nurses, 2 nurses, a mother and a daughter, over 30 years ago. If you or someone you know is in need of loving care, that's me, in the home, the staff of Spoon River stands ready to meet that need. Their phone number is 309-245-0723. I'm kidding. 245-0723. Now news from WCBU.
From the WCBU newsroom, I'm Ben Howell. The Peoria Police Department will hire 6 civilian community service officers aimed at boosting its daytime security presence in the downtown area. Police Chief Brad Dixon says these unarmed officers will assist with matters such as traffic or crowd control during events.
It will allow our police officers to focus on higher priority law enforcement calls.
The City Council unanimously approved spending more than $500,000 annually on their salaries. The Illinois Environmental Protection Agency and a nonprofit are in a multi-year planning process to reduce carbon emissions in Illinois ports and waterways. The 2 groups held the first of 5 public meetings last night in Peoria to outline the plan. Nonprofit CalStart's project lead Lily Paul says this is an opportunity
to invest in these areas, to really bring resources to them, especially as they have slightly different needs.
More than $95 million in planning and deployment grants will help the EPA decarbonize state ports and buy zero-emission port equipment. Peoria's latest crime statistics show a slight increase in shootings. Experts say that violent crime leaves behind not only the victims themselves, but witnesses and others who also feel the trauma. OSF Strive offers trauma-informed mental health services to youth as young as 6 years of age, and OSF's Brooke Escobar explains how trauma affects victims and witnesses.
When there's been experiences of violent crime trauma, the world is confusing, the world is scary. It changes how you see the world.
OSF Strive officials say their service is available to victims and witnesses of violent crime throughout all of Peoria County. And Governor J.B. Pritzker says his office has been advising the Chicago Bears on crafting a new proposal that would keep the team on their home turf. He says he hopes the team has a bill before state lawmakers are set to meet again in the fall.
We want to get it done as soon as possible, and if they're able to put everything together as we hope they will, as I've said, I'm willing to call a special session.
The Bears Board of Directors voted earlier this month to move forward with a stadium development project in Hammond, Indiana. I'm Ben Howell.
Thank you, Ben. We have, ladies and gentlemen, had a breakthrough. And in a way, I hate to announce it because I do know that a certain station or stations monitor our program for ideas. I know that as a AI development. At any rate, this is something exciting that Dr. Jean said. We've got sports coming up, but I don't know. Should we do sports first?
This is much more important.
That's what I think.
There you go.
Tell everybody.
Absolutely.
In a way, I'm hesitating to tell you because they'll copy it. I know they'll copy it, and you'll hear it later in the afternoon.
They are probably already doing this, right?
I don't think so. But tell them, this is unbelievable. Call your relative. We'll give you 30 seconds. Call your relatives, your neighbors, because this is a breakthrough. This is unbelievable. I know no one has done this, at least locally, if not nationally.
Well,
but you tell everybody. I'm excited. This is exciting.
If Joe Couri is still listening, thank you, Joe, for bringing this idea to the forefront. Yeah. I have never done this before, but while we were talking about AI-generated music, that's artificial intelligence generated music, I thought maybe I could try this, and I asked Google's AI, which is Gemini is the name of it, to create a short little song praising Breakfast with Roger and Friends in the mornings on WAZU. And this is what they've come up with here. If you want to listen to it, I'll just hold it up to the microphone because I don't have a cable to connect it just yet.
Here it is.
Sun's up over Peoria, hear the coffee brewer. Get the day started sooner with the friends that feel like home. Never feel like I'm alone. Breakfast with Roger and Friends, WAZU FM till the morning ends. Breakfast with Roger and Friends on WAZU FM.
I tell you, I got goosebumps.
That is cool.
That is
the
cool.
fall-
That would have cost me $14 million to
Probably
produce.
would have had to hire an advertising agency. It's going to put those guys out of business, unfortunately. But anyway, the Fault is a 30-second song and the upbeat pop genre style, but you can create it in any way you want it. If you just tell it to do it in a different style of music or...
Play it again. Play it again. Play it again. I want to hear it.
Did it come over pretty good?
Yes, it did. It sounded very good.
Sun's up over Peoria, hear the coffee brewer. Get the day started sooner with the friends that feel like home. Never feel like I'm alone. Breakfast with Roger and friends. Wazoo FM till the morning ends. Breakfast with Roger and friends on Wazoo FM.
I love it.
It's got a whole band behind the guy.
It is. That's unbelievable.
I know. It's just to think of the things that have developed in our lifetime. You know,
Yeah.
we grew up with no computers, no AI, none of the kind of stuff that kids have today. You know, we were thrilled when Texas Instrument came out with that crude little calculator thing,
yeah.
that we could start using in high school. But
Remember, your teacher, you're not always going to have a calculator to use.
and you can't use that during
Yeah.
testing.
We had to write our bad ideas down on paper.
Yes, and then hope to see it in for. Well, you remember when they made the song about Metamora girls?
I think I do.
Yeah,
It was
a takeoff on the Beach Boys.
the
as I
California
recall.
Girls song.
Yeah, California Girls. Yeah. Well, that was amateurish to what you
Well,
just
of course, that
produced.
was all done live by actual musicians.
Yeah, but-
we did it by AI with no musicians and no instruments.
Just unbelievable. Remember, you heard it first on Breakfast with Roger.
I don't
and
know if I
Friends.
can actually send this to you. Yeah, I think I
Yeah,
can.
send it to me because we will play that. Send it. But do you need time to do sports first?
I
or
think I'll do
second?
sports first, but
Yeah.
this won't take a lot of time here because we're almost up to the 8:30 news here. But we'll do baseball scores. The Chicago Cubs played a doubleheader yesterday in New York against the Mets. They won both games. First game was 10-3 in favor of the Cubs, and then the night game was won 10-5. So the Cubs now improved to 43-37, but they're still 7 games behind the first place Milwaukee Brewers in that National League Central. They will play the Mets again tonight, but then they'll move to Milwaukee and have a weekend series starting Friday night against the Brewers. The St. Louis Cardinals lost to the Arizona Diamondbacks last night, 9-4. The Cardinals now 42-36. They're tied with the Cubs 7 games out in that National League Central. They play the Diamondbacks again tonight. And the White Sox lost to the Cleveland Guardians 4-3 in 10 innings. The White Sox ended up winning 2 of 3 games in that series against Cleveland, but last night was a 4-3 loss. The Sox are off today. They'll be playing the Kansas City Royals up in Chicago tomorrow night to start a 3-game series. And the Peoria Chiefs beat the Beloit Skycarp 8-5 last night. They're 2-2 to start the second half schedule of this season. Series continues at Beloit through Sunday. World Cup Soccer, the men's team plays tonight. I think it's like 9 o'clock start time out on the West Coast in Los Angeles.
9 o'clock our time.
Our time, yeah. I'll be late staying up for
I'll
that,
be
baby.
sawing logs.
The U.S. has already clinched first place in their group and a spot in the final 32-team bracket that starts play next week. And the NBA draft second round was last night. The Bulls had 1 pick in the second round. They drafted Purdue guard Braden Smith at number 38 overall, number 8 in the second round. They traded him immediately to the Indiana Pacers for a guard named Cam Jones, who is a 2025 second round pick.
Is he any good? Cam Jones?
He's a pretty good player. Didn't get a lot of playing time being a rookie this past year, but put up some pretty decent numbers for
Brandon
for a
Smith
rookie.
is good. He will be good.
Braden Smith, yeah, he was
For
one of the
Braden.
top. He was all conference in the Big Ten, and he was
Yeah.
All-American. Yeah, he had a terrific career at Purdue. How that will transition into the NBA, he's not a real quick up and down the court guy
Yeah.
like the
But he's
NBA
strong.
plays.
He's a strong kid.
But the Indiana Pacers liked him, and
he's playing for his state team,
exactly.
Because he played for Purdue.
His hometown is right near Indianapolis. Yeah. So exciting night for the Bulls and the Bears as well. The Bears Stadium saga is back in the news. On Tuesday, Governor Pritzker said he's working with the Bears to put together new legislation that he believes will keep the Bears in Illinois rather than their plan to move to Hammond,
Where
Indiana.
was he 2, 3, 4 months ago?
He was out campaigning for president. I don't know. He says he's willing to call a special session of the Illinois General Assembly, which, as you recall, adjourned till they're reconvening, I think, in October or something like that. And they chose not to vote on the measures that were already in front of them that would have kept the Bears in Illinois. So who knows if this can get done. Obviously, they still hope that it can. We'll find out. That's it for sports.
That's it for sports. Do you think that proposal really was going to be approved? And
actually, I think it was,
really?
And it was the Chicago Democrats that undermined it and torpedoed it because they felt that if they could keep the Bears from getting what they wanted to move to Arlington Park, it would make them reconsider staying in Chicago. So it was like Chicago and Brandon Johnson's last-ditch effort to sabotage the whole thing and try to force the Bears to renegotiate with Chicago.
Right.
Because they didn't believe that the Indiana thing was a real offer, and it turns out it really was, and that may still end up being where the Bears go. Who knows? Right now, it's still up in the air.
The problem is Johnson and Pritzker have agendas that don't line up well.
Yes.
They used to be kind of buddy, and this has driven a wedge between them.
The thing of it is, though, but that's when, when Johnson, when he was working with the Chicago Public Schools and the teachers union, and, Pritzker was kissing his butt because he wants the teachers union in his pocket. But unfortunately, the pie isn't big enough for everyone to get big pieces all at the same time. So it's not a happy collaboration anymore.
Yeah. All right, let's wrap things up news-wise with our headline. This morning brought to you as a service of Morton Community Banks. 50 branches across central and northwestern Illinois, offering a full range of personal and business banking services. Hometown banks, FDIC insured, that way your deposits are safe and secure. Look for the clock tower and you will know they have time for you. Mike, you have our final headline report.
President Trump last night kicked off the country's official 250th anniversary celebration on the National Mall. Called the Great American State Fair, it featured patriotic music and the spoken word from the president as he hailed America's history and progress. Congress joined in the celebration by sealing a time capsule to be opened on July 4th, 2276. A bipartisan committee placed a variety of items in the capsule that they said reflect and commemorate who the nation is today. The contents include a joint letter from congressional leadership, copies of key legislative milestones, and other, probably boring papers. The capsule will be placed beneath the U.S. Capitol building. And today, the U.S. Department of the Interior is opening up for the first time for public viewing the undercroft of the Lincoln Memorial. And for those of us that don't have extensive vocabulary, that's a $25 word for basement.
That's a basement.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a but then again, calling a basement, that's 43,800 square feet, you need to have a little more formal word for that. The underground foundation has been transformed into a 15,000 square foot museum and exhibition space that includes original signed copies of the Emancipation Proclamation and the 13th Amendment, as well as other historical documents. President Trump took it on the judicial chin when Democrat federal judge Denise Casper ruled that he had no authority to issue an executive order requiring proof of citizenship in order to vote. The judge said Trump exceeded existing law. The White House said the ruling makes it easier for non-qualified people to vote. Judge Casper was appointed to the bench by President Obama. Peoria police report the arrest of a 14-year-old boy, charging the teen with possession of a handgun. The officers grabbed up the boy in the 1800 block of North New York Avenue after receiving a tip. He's now in the county juvenile center facing an additional charge of aggravated assault. 18-year-old Quinzel Foy is going to prison for 3.5 years after he pled guilty to the robbery of a 15-year-old last February. Foy was part of a group of youngsters who stole 2 vehicles and led police on a chase through the streets of Peoria, a chase that ended at the intersection of University and Main Streets. Officials of the Riverfront Museum have received an original 1883 William Stone print of the 1776 Declaration of Independence. The rare piece, donated by Diane and Doug Oberhelman, was unveiled last night at the museum. And Roger, that's it for news at the bottom of the hour.
That was very well done.
I'm glad we had this talk.
Yes, I am too. It was well done. Thank you. Let's have a check of the weather, and that is brought to you by Kyle Vinyl. That's Mr. Weather of Fortner Insurance. Kyle is a insurance professional, and he can review your portfolio of coverage for home, auto, life, and health, and he does that to make sure you're getting what you're paying for. You can learn a lot by visiting with Kyle Varno. He is providing the insurance you need today to protect your world tomorrow. I've always liked that slogan, that key line, theme line. You can reach Kyle today at 309-682-0519. When did they, that's military, isn't it? 682-0519.
Yep.
Is that, thank you, Captain. At any rate, let's, first of all, as we kind of wrap up things in the last half hour, take a check of the Illinois River. It has reached 20.9 feet, flood stage at 18 feet. A reminder, flooding around the Ivy Club in Peoria Heights and downtown Riverfront. They are impacted when the river reaches 22.7 feet. And we don't think that's going to happen, but I thought I would bring it up anyway, because you're already higher than that in Marshall County, aren't you?
Yeah. Well, it's high enough that, I mean, I've cut down on the amount that I have to mow right now.
Yeah, because of the water.
My mower doesn't work very well when the water's more than a foot deep.
Yeah. Yeah, and you were a member of the U.S. Navy and retired, and you had you have a boat. I understand.
Yeah, we do. Yeah. We have
when you were growing up and you were a little boy, did you play with boats in the tub?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I think we all did. Did you have a favorite toy, Gene, that you can share with us?
Mostly trucks and cars and things like that you played with. Now I'm talking about, when I was in my teens. No, I'm talking about when I was very little.
Yeah.
As I got older, I got more into throwing a baseball around and stuff like that.
You quit taking a bath?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. It's been a long time since I had 2 little boys that took baths. Do boys take baths or do they take showers today?
I don't know what kids
not
do
really
today.
sure.
I mean,
I'm not sure
my kids
either.
took baths until they were about maybe 8, 9, or 10, and then they kind of
showers.
started doing showers. My dad installed a shower in our basement. I think I was probably about 6, 7 years old, and that's when I probably started doing
taking
showers
showers.
instead of baths.
I just think it's kind of interesting. Anyway, back to the weather, Roger. Mostly cloudy, high of 81. Cloudy overnight, 30% chance for rain after 3 a.m. Tomorrow morning. The overnight low, 63. Tomorrow cloudy with a good chance for showers and thunder boomers. High only 75 tomorrow. Tomorrow night chance for rain, cloudy, 64. Saturday, cloudy and 83, and that's the end of the relatively mild temperatures, because Sunday it'll be hot, 91, Monday 94, and Tuesday 95. And currently our temperature at 70 degrees. And there you have the latest news and weather at the bottom of the hour. On this day in history, ladies and gentlemen. Are you ready, panel?
Yes.
June 25th, the year 1876. What bad thing happened that everybody remembers and were taught and learned and read about it? I think a movie was even made, and I'm sure a book was written about this bad thing.
Was it a disaster, a natural disaster?
No, it was not a natural disaster.
Was it a man-made disaster?
It was a man-made disaster.
Was it in the Midwest?
No. Part of what you just said is more accurate.
Was it in the West?
Yes.
Okay. 1876.
All right, let me.
Was it Custer's last
yes,
stand?
you're exactly right.
Okay.
At where?
Wounded Knee.
No.
At Little,
Well, in
at,
South
Little
Dakota.
Bighorn.
No.
Oh, Little Bighorn, yeah.
Little Bighorn. Was it Wounded Knee?
Well, that was the Indians' name for that land.
Right.
Well, I don't see that in my, but I'll take your word for it because you studied it. It was the Battle of Little Bighorn. Indigenous forces. Is that another word for Indian? Okay.
It's a politically
I thought so,
correct-
yeah.
the
Politically
re-
correct.
Indians, led by chiefs who? Two of them.
Sitting
that
Bull?
was Little Bighorn.
Sitting-
or that was
Sitting Bull, right.
And Cochise.
No?
They
built a
Crazy
statue.
Horse.
Crazy
Yeah,
Horse.
Crazy Horse.
You know, we went west one year with the boys, and they were working on the Crazy Horse.
Still are.
And we came back years later with Chuck and Carol Bly, and they were still working on Crazy Horse.
We were there a few years ago.
Is it done, or are they still working on it?
No.
No, it's
Basically,
still-
it's one guy doing all the work, and
Okay.
it's the son of the original guy that started it. And they project it'll be ready in 2138.
No. All right. Any rate, U.S. Army forces were defeated by Crazy Horse and Sitting Bull and their Indian forces, led by George. What was the George Custer? What was his middle name?
George, yeah, he had a very
It was all-American name.
yes, middle name you're talking.
Yes,
Yes. George.
They had a radio show featuring the all-American boy, Jack
Jack Thorpe,
Armstrong.
Armstrong. That is correct.
Yeah.
What was his rank in the cavalry?
General.
No,
No,
he was not general.
I think he was colonel, actually.
A lieutenant colonel. That is right.
Okay.
In a bloody battle near southern Montana's Little Bighorn River, famously known as Custer's Last Stand, and we're not talking about
We're not talking about
a
ice
Dairy
cream,
Queen.
right?
Yeah. Crazy Horse and Sitting Bull, leaders of what tribe? What Indian tribe?
The Sioux.
Dakota.
The Sioux?
The Sioux.
Resisted the U.S. government's efforts to confine their people to reservations. In 1875, after gold was discovered in South Dakota's what hills?
Badlands.
Black Hills.
The Black
The U.S.
Hills.
Army ignored previous treaty agreements and invaded the region. The betrayal led many Sioux and what other people to join what other Indian tribe?
The Crow.
Tribes. No. It's a city is named after the Indians in Wyoming, a very popular city.
Cheyenne.
Cheyenne, exactly
Yep.
right. And wasn't there an actor that played Cheyenne, a big guy?
Oh yeah, Clint.
Not
no,
Clint.
no, Clint. What was his last name?
Yeah. Clint Boyle. No, it wasn't Clint Boyle. Yeah, what was his name? You're looking it up.
Clint Walker.
Clint Walker, there you got him. So they joined Sitting Bull and Crazy Horse in Montana. By 1876, how many Indians had gathered in a camp along the Little Bighorn River?
Is it four figures? Like 2,000?
I think it's like 7,000.
5, a little higher,
8,000?
Even higher?
a little higher,
9,000?
a little higher.
10,000.
10,000. 10,000 Indians in defiance of the War Department. They were ordered to return to their reservations, and they gave the government the bird. I don't think they knew about it.
Not-
In mid-June, a force of 1,200 Sioux and Cheyenne turned back a column of troops. On the morning of June 25th, Custer drew near the camp and decided to press on ahead rather than wait for reinforcements. Within an hour, Custer and every last one of his soldiers were dead. They killed them all.
Yep.
Terrible. And now you know the rest of the story of Little Bighorn. All right, we'll be right back with more current news, our pet tip of the day.
Today's pet tip is brought to you by Peoria Pet Crematory of Peoria and Lewiston, providing final care for family pets, large and small, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Their phone number is 713-1898. That's 713-1898. More information is available at peoriapetcrematory.com.
Pet lovers are dedicated to their animals, all species from horses to turtles and of course cats and dogs. If you are a pet lover, learn these little known, somewhat amazing facts about your pet. There are times when a pet can eat something he shouldn't and it will cause him to throw up. But you should watch your dog carefully. If the upset stomach continues more than a day and the dog seems listless, you could be facing a serious problem. I know a lot of folks will say, oh, he's always doing that. But that should be a strong warning sign. Dogs do not always throw up unless something is seriously wrong with their systems. Some friends of mine recently had this happen to their Schnauzer. Rocky is for the most part an active dog, but when he became somewhat listless and then not eating, they just thought it was because he's getting older. When he started not eating and throwing up what he did try to eat, they knew something was not right. So at my urging, he went to the vet's for blood work and was kept overnight for observation. The vet thought it was probably pancreatitis, but when the blood work came back, they were all surprised. He had developed a liver disease. This could have killed him if they had not sought treatment in a timely manner. Now Rocky is on a special low-protein, non-fat diet with daily medications, and I'm happy to say he has perked up and is playful and eating well, though he does miss his doggy treats. So let this be a reminder to you that sometimes the simplest symptoms can lead to the biggest problems, and we need to be observant of our dog's behavior at all times. This whisker of information has been made possible by a grant from the Corporation for Public Broadcasting in partnership with Spot, Saving Pets One at a Time, and KSBR Studios. Produced by Joseph C. McGuire and theme music by Stuardo Glasser.
Today's pet tip has been brought to you by Peoria Pet Crematory of Peoria and Lewiston, providing final care for family pets, large and small, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Their phone number is 713-1898. That's 713-1898. More information is available at peoriapetcrematory.com.
Thank you, Louis Linder. I always appreciate our pet tip of the day. Well, I got to thinking, particularly on Fox News, not so much in some of the other medias nationally, has been running little tidbits of historical events as part of the celebration of the 250th anniversary of the greatest country in the world. And I got to thinking, one of the things that I'm planning to do with the support of people like Dr. Gene Sidler and Mike Dentino is to do the same thing on this program. So that I've asked John Meisinger and Terry Chamberlain and Dave Poles and now the two of you on the air to prepare next week a 1 to 3 minute narrative of a significant historical event to share with our listener, such as the Boston Tea Party, the Gettysburg Address. Those are going back a number of years. Maybe current events that are of historical significance. I think it'd be fun. So Not that I want you to name specifically what you might write about for 1 to 3 minutes next week, but off the top of your head, what can the two of you come up with? I would come up with the Gettysburg Address as an event to talk about, not necessarily reading the Gettysburg Address, but how it came to be.
Yes, and I've read that history, and it's really fascinating. I mean, he wrote several versions of it.
He did. I did
down,
not know that.
And so there are now different versions that have some slight differences in the wording that differ a little bit from the actual speech that he gave. So yeah, you can talk about that. But you know, there's all these different battles. You could maybe talk about the specific battles and how they may have turned the tide of the war. Battle of Yorktown, which was the one that kind of finished off Cornwall and his regulars, that ended up leading to the the settlement of the war and the surrender and the armistice that, well, I guess you wouldn't call it an armistice, but the victory by the colonists.
Yeah.
And then where it led from there with the Constitutional Convention and ultimately our Constitution.
Yeah, and I could even, to be something more current, write about the election of the first black president of the United States with the election of Barack Obama, which I think is a significant event in the history of America. So that we have a cornucopia of eras, not just the colonial days, but also the ending of the Korean War, which was a significant event in the history of the country, and the passage of the Civil Rights Act. So many things that I think we can, but I leave it up to the genius of Dr. Gene Sidler and Mike Dentino. And if there's no genius, then, what would be interesting is ask AI not only to play a jingle for Breakfast with Roger and Friends, but what AI would believe are the top 2 or 3 historical events in the development of the United States of America. We don't all answer.
Yeah, I'm asking EI here. What
do you think?
What were the top historical events? Well, but then should I qualify that saying in creating our country or making our country great?
Whatever you want to ask.
Yeah. I mean, I think for me, the first thing that comes to mind is Pearl Harbor, which was the seminal event that turned us from being a very introspective, isolationist country onto the path of becoming one of the world's leading powers.
I think that's a good event to talk about and promote.
I think that turned our country around from, like I said, being an isolationist, and we don't want to be involved in Europe's problems or Asia's problems. Just leave us alone. We just let us sell you stuff.
I like that.
Well, and I've always been fascinated by how quickly the country expanded. It expanded from the original 13 colonies to additional colonies, and then 1803, the Louisiana Purchase.
Yeah.
It
almost doubled the size of the country.
I did more than double.
Or more than double,
yeah. The size of the country, just in one purchase. Napoleon was running out of money to fund his army, and
I'm having a fire sale.
And yeah, he took I don't know, what was it, a couple $1 million, which back in those days was an insurmountable amount, but the U.S. was able to put that together and buy all of the land drained by the Mississippi and Missouri rivers, and so and then the further. So maybe that's one thing I would pick to talk about is how each of these segments of our country was added in and created the country we have today.
Yeah, with a big yawn, we went from buying the Louisiana Purchase to, well, as long as we're out here, let's grab a little bit of this Arizona stuff over here, and hey, Texas, what are you doing?
Yeah, hey, California
Come
looks
on.
pretty nice.
Yeah.
Tack that on.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
you
mean-
mean you have to buy that? Okay, we'll give you.
We'll send you a
think
few
the
shekels.
Gadsden purchase was part
Yeah.
of that. and-
Yeah. Let's see if this will work. Use
Oh, there it is. Yeah, that should work. You click on that, you should be able to download it and then double click on that top line. No, the Breakfast with Roger, very top line. Farther up. Yes, double click on that, baby. Right on.
Sun's up over Peoria, hear the coffee brewer. Get the day started sooner with the friends that feel like home. Never feel like I'm alone. Breakfast with Roger and friends. Wazoo FM till the morning ends. Breakfast with Roger and friends on Wazoo FM.
That is absolutely amazing. I cannot believe it. So other stations who are listening this morning, you might want to try that. And we thank Dr. Gene Sidler by Dr. Joe
Yes, for my
Couri
vast
for making
computer
it possible.
expertise here.
It is,
Maybe I'll make another one for tomorrow.
yeah. Yes.
I'll throw in a
You know
mention
what?
of the pet tip of the day and the
Yeah.
street question of the
There you
day
go.
and a few other little features of the show.
I just can't get over, and it was absolutely nothing. If you went to Nashville, it'd cost you thousands of dollars
Yeah.
to get a
Oh,
band.
yeah, to rent out a studio, get a backing band,
Yeah.
and yeah.
You know, I can see where some musicians and some recording studios are not going to be too happy with AI because it could virtually push them out of business.
On the AI page is a little link. After I had it create this song, is a little link to click if you feel like there is some copyright infringement here. So, in other words, if somebody hears this and thinks, "Hey, that sounds way too much like something I wrote and copyrighted," and want to have a lawyer contact you, then they can click on a link here. But I don't think that'll happen because
I don't
it
think
sounds
that
pretty
would happen
unique to me.
either.
But here are all the different genres you could pick: 90s rap, Latin pop, folk ballad, kawaii, metal, rhythm and blues, reggaeton, workout music, emo, Afro pop, bad music, folk music, K-pop, which is the Korean,
Korean pop,
music genre. So you can change it to all these different classifications of music.
Yeah, I didn't actually realize there were that many different genres of
I'm
music.
sure there's more than that.
Yeah, probably is more.
Probably more than what's on there for that matter. Well, again, we want to give credit where credit is due, and I hope the others will do the same thing, to Dr. Joe Couri, who reminded us the 59th annual Shish Kebab featuring Lebanese cuisine is this Sunday from 11 to 6 p.m. at the I-2 Hall on Farmington Road. You can dine in, carry out, and drive through. If you drive through, you have to order in advance. That's what the drive-in is for. And it includes beef or chicken shish kebab. What would you choose, beef or chicken, gentlemen?
Oh, it's,
The last time I was there, I had the beef, so I think I'd go with the chicken just to check it out this time. But that was a
Okay.
couple years ago.
Well,
I didn't make it the last couple years.
yeah, I might have to punt and just get one of each.
One of each, not a bad
That
idea.
would be a
They're,
bad
That
they're
would do
very
it.
economical.
Cabbage rolls, salad, and bread this Sunday. And we'll wrap it up, ladies and gentlemen, this morning. Thank you, Dr. Joe Couri. And we close with a song, as a matter of fact, that is great. And so happy everybody could be a part of the program. We'll see you tomorrow. In the meantime, have a great day, everybody. Remember, God loves you, and so do we.
No sanction, Washington said without pause. To persecution, no assistance. These are based on our laws. Our tradition was built on the ideals that we know. which helped our nation prosper and grow. They came to the new world, seeking a new life, escaping a time of intolerance and strife. The laws of their lands made them yearn to be free, to worship or not when a word was the key. They came with hope, but also some fear. They hoped it would be better here. Our country was young, everything was new. Would they be accepted when known as a Jew? George Washington was truly a man of his word. When he spoke, everyone heard. His message always rang clear and true. In the fullness of time, these important words grew. To bigotry, no sanction, Washington said without pause. To persecution, no assistance, these are based on our laws. Our tradition was built on the ideals that we know, which helped our nation prosper and grow. The lessons learned on that historic day are felt by those who worship different ways. Diversity with which we are blessed is celebrated by all through George's quest. with Roger on WAZU FM.
chickens on the flatbed out of Wiggins, and we'd spend all night on the uphill side of 37 miles of hell called
he didn't even see. He loves me. How can it be? He's perfect, yeah. He still holds me. The hands that took the nails now hold me. The hands that made the heaven and stars took the pain, took the scars. He who took the shame knows my name. Literally conquered death to give me breath. His hands took the nails. Now they hold me. Peoria. Hear the coffee brewer, get the day started sooner with the friends that feel like home. Never feel like I'm alone. Breakfast with Roger and friends. Wazoo FM till the morning ends. Breakfast with Roger and friends on Double Wazoo FM.